got a new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. And my umbrella. You see, Now Brief with Galaxy AI learns my schedule to keep me one step ahead of my day. Activity stats, my diary, transport updates, and the weather. Thanks, Now Brief. Pre-order the epic new Galaxy S25 Ultra at Samsung.com by the 6th of February and get 512GB for the price of 256GB. Operates as a price discount. T's and C's apply. Samsung account login and network connection required.
There's cars and SUVs. Then there's vans and pickups. Looking for expert advice on your next vehicle? Our Toyota and Lexus business team are here to help. Whether it's electric, hybrid, petrol, diesel or hydrogen vehicles, our dedicated team offers comprehensive consultancy for large and small fleets. With our award-winning reliability, recognised by the What Car Awards, we keep your vehicles on the road and your business running smoothly. Search Toyota and Lexus Business to learn more. Lexus, awarded Best for Reliability in the 2023 What Car Awards.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard as we return to league action after a busy week of European football. It's a repeat of the game that arguably started Aberdeen's downward spiral as they head to Hibs. There's a battle of the Saints in Dundee against Hearts at 3 o'clock. Celtic, Rangers and managerless Motherwell all have to wait until tomorrow. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me in the studio you have Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
There should be praise for research. Listen to this. On the 26th of November, Hibs 3, Aberdeen 3 at Easter Road. Aberdeen left Edinburgh that night 2 points behind Celtic at the top of the league. Hibs were bottom, 23 points behind Aberdeen. If Hibs win today, they go 5th in the table, 2 points behind Aberdeen, and Aberdeen stay 25 points behind Celtic. Jimmy Tilleen, what's going on? Elsewhere, can St Johnstone start to beat the drop by beating St Mirren and Paisley? No. Can Hearts go above Dundee in the table and continue Neil Critchley's good run? Yes. And will Brunei go top of the championship after Ayr United have beaten Hamilton Accies in Lanarkshire? You bet. What a day.
Quite remarkable, Aberdeen's turning form this year, like Hugh points out, and you know it brings it all home when you put Hibs and Aberdeen together, like Hugh has just described there. And a big day for Jimmy Tilleen because he needs to halt the rot somewhere along the line, and what better way to do it than a win against Hibs. But Hibs are flying high. What a turnaround from David Gray, so he'll fancy his chances. St Mirren an opportunity to jump into the top six, leapfrog Motherwell, who are without a manager, and face Celtic tomorrow. And Hugh's right to give Ayr United a mention. Scott Brown could go top of the table after Falkirk's collapse in recent weeks. Another defeat last night. Chance for Ayr to capitalise.
Yeah, it's been it's not just looking forward to today. It's been a brilliant week, Gordon. Congratulations to both Celtic and Rangers. I know Celtic will be disappointed with Aston Villa result, but I thought the game was absolutely brilliant. Great watch, and well done to Rangers once again. And we'll look forward to see how they can progress in Europe, and then on to today's fixtures and tomorrow. And boys quite rightly say, old club, what a great chance to go top of the championship this afternoon. A lot of good games ahead.
The man's right, Hugh Keevins, and I don't say it often, what a week it's been. Celtic didn't get the win, but they did fairly well on the night. It sets them up for Bayern Munich. We don't yet know who Rangers will face. We've got the transfer window drawing to a close, a bit of drama at Fir Park. It really has been one of those weeks to remember.
Pride and prestige for Celtic at Villa Park, but no win. Pride, prestige and a win for Rangers against Union Saint-Gilloise. So very good week. Tomorrow will take care of itself when we're back here in the Super Scoreboard studio. Rangers will wipe the floor with Ross County at Ibrox, and Celtic will have Jota in the squad. Jota now taking over Louis Palmer's number 7, an iconic number at Celtic Park. Palmer has gone to Olympiacos. Jota now follows in a line that began with Jimmy Johnston and then Henrik Larsson. Couple of big acts to follow there.
Your Chief Chi as well, never forget that. He wore number 7 here.
Or Miku,
or Miku, yeah, there's a couple of big hitters. But what
they
week
retired the number after Chief Chi left.
What a week it has been for both Celtic and Rangers. The new format, I was a bit sceptical of it when it first came out, but the excitement into the last round of fixtures has been great, and especially for Rangers, who, when we left on Thursday, you asked what chance we thought Rangers had of getting into the top 8, and both of you says very slim, probably none. They had to get their own job done first, and just results falling their way puts them in a very good position and through to the last 8. So good for them. Big draw for Celtic as well.
Talking about that draw for Celtic, right? Here's the surprising thing out of everything. When would you have heard this before? Celtic fans, who would you fancy? Bayern Munich or Real Madrid? We've got a better chance of beating Bayern Munich. How things have changed.
A difficult decision, that one. Anyway, I'm sure we'll reflect more on a busy week of European action between now and 6 o'clock, but let's put full attention into the 3 o'clock games. It is hard to ignore Hibs against Aberdeen. So much between these sides this season, and Aberdeen cannot buy a win. David Friel is there.
Yeah, Gordon, and as the guys were saying, what a game this promises to be. I noticed it was a 2-year anniversary of the famous Easter Road El Sakiko just this week. I think it was January 28th, 2023. Jim Goodwin's Aberdeen reign came to an end, 6-0 defeat to Hibs that day. Just gazing over at the corner of the pitch where Jim Goodwin was filmed walking off with his bag into the sunset. I don't think Jimmy Tilleen is at that stage just yet. However, if the Aberdeen manager doesn't get a result here today, serious questions are surely going to be asked. I know Hugh went over it there, but the last time these two met at Easter Road, just November 26th, it finished 3-3. It was an instant classic, but it's what's happened since then that has really mattered. Aberdeen were 2-1 up and 3-2 up that day in injury time. Rocky Bashiri, Hugh's favourite player, his late equaliser, claimed a point for Hibs, and it was just a real turning point for both. 67 days since then, and the difference between the fortunes of the two teams is really incredible. Aberdeen were 23 points ahead of Hibs. Hibs were rock bottom, and Aberdeen also had a game in hand. Fast forward just over 2 months, and what a point swing, and Hibs now have the chance to move within 2 points of Aberdeen with a win today. I don't think it's going over the score to say Aberdeen are in a spiral. They haven't won in 13 games, they've taken just 4 points in the league from the last 39. And they've only won 1 game since early November. That was against Elgin in the Scottish Cup. Hibs, by contrast, have been resurgent. They've been really, really good the last few months. They've actually only lost 1 of the last 12 games. They're unbeaten in 8 in the league, and they're the form team in the Premiership right now. David Gray, he was under so much pressure early in the season, but he's really starting to make his mark as a manager, and he'll fancy it today, having also beaten Aberdeen 3-1 at Pittodrie in December. He's stuck to the team. He's found a formula with the 3 at the back. He names the same team that drew at Ross County last weekend. Jordan Smith in goals, back 3 of Warner Hora, Rocky Bashiri and Jack Iredale. The 2 Cadden twins will be the wing backs, with Nectar Triantis and Dylan Levitt in midfield. Josh Campbell will be in behind Martin Boyle and Dwight Gale. Subs for Hibs are Bursic, Miller, Kwon, Bowie, Obita, Mariah Welsh, Hoylett, Molotnikov and Kuharevich. As for Aberdeen, they've backed Jimmy Tilleen with several signings in this transfer window. They need more, according to him. They're trying to bring in AC Milan striker Marko Lazetic on loan. He's made 2 changes from that appalling defeat to St Mirren last weekend. Slobodan Rubizic, who asked to be taken off in that game, he's benched for Alfie Dorrington. And Ante Palaversa also comes in for Sievert Nielsen. So Aberdeen are going to line up Ross Doohan in goals, Nicky Devlin, Christels Tobbers, Alfie Dorrington and Alexander Jensen at the back. Ante Palaversa and Graham Shinney will hold the midfield, with Toppy Keskinen, Leighton Clarkson and Joppy Ockels in behind Pape Guy. Subs for Aberdeen are Richie McKenzie, Nielsen, Nisbet, Duke, Morris, Boyd, Ambrose and Rubizic. The referee at Easter Road is Don Robertson, and the VAR is Kevin Clancy.
How much of this is coming back on the manager, David Friel? If Aberdeen were to win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game, in that sort of order right throughout the season and sit where they are, then that would be fine, wouldn't it? I don't think anyone would really be grumbling. But to have done it in the way that they have, how much longer can Jimmy Tilleen sort of put up with this, or can Aberdeen put up with it, I should say?
Yeah, I mean, it looks as if Aberdeen are backing him. I mean, just the signings would tell you that. But Gordon, I don't think he can take all the praise for the amazing start to the season and then be absolved of any criticism for the spiral, as I called it. You know, I don't think it's acceptable at any point for Aberdeen to be going, say, 14 games in this league without winning a game. The results for me are alarming. I'm not convinced with a lot of these signings, I must admit. You know, I look at the money that was spent on like Keskinen. Is he value for that? Does he do much? I'm not convinced. I think Aberdeen, you look at the squad, you look at the bench today, and they're also missing a few players. It's a really strong squad. It's quite an expensively assembled squad, and I don't think there can be excuses made for Jimmy Tilley. As I said, there was talk at the start of the season that Wolves are looking at him because he was this miracle worker. He did a great job with Elfsborg in Sweden, and he hit the ground running here, but I don't know. I just think he needs to start getting results. Otherwise, this Aberdeen crowd, who have been pretty patient, I think they'll start to turn soon.
Will Aberdeen finish in the top 6, Hugh Keevins?
Yes, because in spite of a ridiculously bad run, they are still 4th in the table, and they will still be 4th in the table no matter what happens at Easter Road today. It is a very poor reflection on the league in general. If you're that bad and you're still in 4th place.
See, to be on that though, you've said that before, but to go back to what I said to David Friel, that's not really the way it works, because if they won a game, lost a game, won a game, lost a game, they'd pretty much have the same points. That they are where they are because they started so well. That's just pure arithmetic.
Yeah, and it's pure arithmetic that they haven't won in 13 games.
Yeah, but I don't think that reflects on the league. It just so happens that they won all their games together and now they've lost them all rather than spreading them out.
I don't care what you think. I'm here to tell people what I think. I am here to tell people what I think, and I will stand or fall by what I say.
I'm talking about that being a reflection on the league.
Well, of course it's a reflection on the league. They're 4th, and they haven't won in 13 games.
Yes, okay. Well, I was going to say I'll get Gordon to explain the arithmetic, but I've had enough trying to explain it to you during the week anyway. So, nice polite start from Hugh Keevins. You can look forward to such rudeness between now and 6 o'clock.
I like it. He's on fire. I like that. I like that bit of firiness that comes out of Hugh on a Saturday. It brings it out in me and Mark.
When he's been exposed for making a nonsense point and he has to whack back.
No, he's not. Look at that face.
I'm quite happy. You call it rudeness. I would call you response. Lacking in politesse, as they say.
Well, we can explain to him what that means.
I think there's got to be a fight here. But no, listen, I know what you're saying. You asked a question: would Aberdeen finish in the top 6? Look, they're sitting
5 points.
Is all it
is.
Is St Mirren, Dundee going to catch that? Maybe Hearts. I think Hearts could possibly go on a run like Hibs. Look, it's very easy to say, innit? They need to start winning games. But do you fancy them today at Easter Road? I don't think many do. And then it'll go on to another week. So I think that, Aberdeen are struggling at this moment in time. Yes, they were very fortunate. They got all their points, their job done with the new manager Bounds coming in there. And I think David Friel makes, for once, a great point, right? And the fact that, you take all the pat in the backs when it's going well. You've got to carry the can when it's not. So he does come under a bit of pressure.
And for the hierarchy of Aberdeen just now, and all the calls for Jimmy Tilley doesn't get his finger out, he's going to lose his job. But only they can know what the long-term strategy or what the plan or what their view of this season was. Was it to finish in the top 6? Then he's fine, because he will. Was it to push for 3rd place? Well, who knows? Or are they content with 4th? If that's the case, well, you don't just judge a snapshot judgment. You take a look at the full season, and it'll only be decided then if Jimmy Tilley's been a success or not. He's no way is he going to lose his job.
But that's what I mean. The point I'm trying to make, your points per game stays the same, regardless of whether you do it in 2 separate blocks or whether those results are spread across the season. However, it clearly can't go on forever.
Of course not, because the morale of the club then gets affected. The fan base, who are so knee-jerk, and I mean every fan base then starts getting on your back, and it makes it more difficult for the players. But the good thing for Jimmy Tilley, and David's right about some of the players that have come in, they have still got the crux, the mainstays of that squad that were so successful. Now they're not going through their best spell, but you can get a tune out of them. It's not like these guys have never done it. They've done it at the start of the season so well in 16
the worry
games.
Is that the anomaly?
The other factor I think that has to be brought into account is Jimmy Tilley's signings. We'll need to see how many of them are actually worthy of their place in the team, because he brought in Alfie Dorrington today in place of Rubezic. For me, Dorrington isn't even as good a player as Rubezic.
And that doesn't say much after last week. What about St Mirren, St Johnstone, Fraser Wishart? Is that a sign of an upwards trajectory for St Johnstone, that win against Motherwell last week?
Well, they'll certainly hope so, and I hope there's as much action here at St Mirren at Spicer Stadium as there is in the studio. Good start to the show, but I think the St Johnstone fans will hope there's an upward trajectory, and I do think this is a more difficult game for St Mirren than they would have thought a couple of weeks ago, because of course St Johnstone have now beaten Motherwell twice in a row, and I think in particular last week's game against Motherwell in the league, and that win will give them a real lift and give them hopes of catching those above them. Simon Valakari's the chance to change his squad around. He's brought in some money from transfers, has been backed by the board, he's brought in 6 new players to freshen things up, so things from Valakari's point of view, you can't say he's not been backed by the board, and he'll look at this game as an opportunity to close the gap should Kelly and Ross County slip up today. But St Mirren will also get a lift from last Saturday, not only the win but the manner in which they did beat Aberdeen. You guys have been talking about it in the studio, but 3-0 for St Mirren, don't forget, is a fantastic result and an emphatic win. Prior to that, St Mirren though had lost 4 league games in a row since they beat Rangers here on Boxing Day, and they've lost their last 2 home games here at the Spiza Stadium. So Stephen Robinson has not really made any big signings, a couple just both at the start of the window. Zach Hemming through necessity when Balcom went back to Brentford, and Oseni, who hasn't started a game yet due to the form of Olasanya and Mandron. So it's so tight in the Premiership. You guys were talking about it there, between St Mirren are 5 points behind Aberdeen in 4th, so if they win today and Aberdeen lose, then they're on the Dons' tails, but they're also just 5 points above Kilmarnock in the relegation playoff play. So St Mirren need to be careful and get a wee run going starting today and get them really challenging for a top 6 place properly. But St Johnstone need to improve on their recent record here at St Mirren. They haven't won in their last 10 games, but I'm actually really looking forward to this one. Simon Valakari playing a much more open style of football these days for St Johnstone. There's just one change in the St Mirren team from that victory. Callum Penman, who came off, is going to the bench, the young man, and his replacement Elvis Bomono starts the game in his place. So they go with Zach Hemming in goals, Marcus Fraser, Alex Gogic and Richard Taylor at the back, Elvis Bomono, Killian Phillips, Caelan Boyne Once, Mark O'Hara and Scott Tanzer in midfield, with the 2 strikers Mikael Mandron and Toyosi Olasanya. The subs for St Mirren: Peter Rominski, Declan John, Luke Kenny, Greg Kilty, Owen Oseni, James Scott, Ushin Smith, Callum Penman and Evan Mooney. 2 changes for St Johnstone, the team that beat Motherwell. Andy Fisher, the new goalkeeper, is out injured, and Kucheravi drops to the bench. In come Ross Sinclair. And new signing Elliot Watt, signed on loan, under 21 international for Scotland from Button Albion. He starts for the first time for St Johnstone. So they go with Ross Sinclair in goals, Dre Wright, Sven Sprangler and Bozo Mikulic at the back, Sam Curtis, Jason Holt, Elliot Watt and Barry Douglas across the middle, with Graham Carey and Victor Griffiths just in behind the lone striker Mackenzie Kirk. Josh Ray, Max Kucheravi, Fran Franchak, Craig Hepburn, Adama Sabidi, Matt Smith, Josh McPake, Taylor Stephen and Nicky Clark are on the bench. The referee today is Dan McFarlane, and the VAR official is Alan Muir.
Dave Galloway has Dundee Hearts teams.
The battle to secure a top 6 place is so tight, Gordon, with just 4 points separating 5th place from 9th, and only goal difference separating these 2 teams. In fact, both sides are just 2 points clear of the relegation playoff spot, yet 10 points off 3rd. So things, as we know, can very quickly change, and there's a huge incentive to get a victory here today. Dundee almost at full strength now after a real injury crisis this season. Skipper Joe Shaughnessy is available for the first time since April, however he isn't in today's squad. Hearts, as for them, well, they were at the foot of the table when Neil Critchley took charge in October, but they've made steady progress, have gone 6 games unbeaten, and this is also a really important period for them. Midfielder Callum Nieuwenhof, great to see him back, out 11 months with a hamstring injury. He's available again and is on the bench. Looking at the teams then, a couple of changes for Dundee. In come Mulligan and Samuels, out drop Ingram and Robertson. So it's Trevor Carson in goals, a back 3 of Ryan Astley, Clark Robertson and Aaron Donnelly. Midfield Josh Mulligan, Mo Silla, Cesar Garza and Imari Samuels. Up top, Simon Murray, supported by Lyle Cameron and Soon Adewumi. The subs: McCracken, Ingram, McGee, Tiffany, Robertson, Larkesh, Palmer Holden, Lopez and Portales. As for Hearts, well, 3 changes for them. Shankland is back in, as is Nielsen, and Musa out drop Halkett, Grant and Wilson. So they will start with Craig Gordon in goals, a back 4 of Adam Forrester, Lewis Nielsen, Jamie McCart and James Penrice. Midfield Musa Drama, Benny Beningimi, Cammy Devlin and Blair Spittle. Up front it's Elton Kabangu and Lawrence Shankland. The subs for the Jam Tarts today: Clark, Nieuwenhof, Steinwender, Forrest, Boateng, Danda, Wilson, Vargas and Taylor. Your match referee today at Dens Park is Lloyd Wilson, and on VAR a certain Nick Walsh, who you may remember last weekend dished out that controversial red card for Rangers' Mohamed Diamondi at Dundee United.
I'm sure a quiet day in store for the officials there. What about our one featured championship game? Because the big one was last night, but this one then comes into the spotlight. Hamilton Accies against Ayr. Roger Hanna's there.
Yeah, and the two teams, they met back to back in August, and when Ayr won both games 2-0 here and 3-2 at Somerset, Gordon, it took them to the top of the championship table, and they will go back there this evening if they can get a third win of the season against the Accies. They are on a terrific run of form, 9 wins and a draw in the last 11 games in all competitions, and it could be a bumper week for the Honest Men, because after today, of course, they host Hibernian in the former club of Scott Brown and Stephen Whittaker in the Scottish Cup 5th round before the TV cameras on Friday night. They will be big favourites here today because Accies have slumped to back-to-back 3-0 defeats. They lost at Livy last Saturday, they lost here at home to Raith Rovers on Tuesday night. They're just 2 points above Dunfermline in the relegation playoff place, and the 4 straight away games after today's clash, so it's important for John Rankin that he picks up something today. He has wielded the axe after they were 3-0 down to Raith by half time on Tuesday. 6 changes out go Albinson, Lamy, Barjonas, Martin, Henderson and Shaw. In come Linus, McGinty, McDonald, Longridge, O'Hara and Todorov. So give you that Accies team. It's Dean Linus in goal. It's the back three of Barry Maguire, Dylan McGowan and Sean McGinty. Across the middle, Stephen Bradley, Kyle McDonald, who signed a contract extension to the summer of 2027 this morning. He's there with Jackson Longridge and Stephen Hendry, and then Connor Smith in behind. A new look front pairing of Kevin O'Hara and Nikolai Todorov. On the bench, Albinson, Henderson, Martin, Lamy, Shaw, Tumulty, McKinstry and Gallagher. Just 2 changes for Ayr from last week's win against Partick. Nick McAllister suspended after his red card, so young Dylan Watchett is back in at right wing back, and another youngster, Lenny Agbear, on loan from Celtic, comes into the middle of the back three with a former Hamilton player, Mikey Devlin, rested. He's just got a little tweak and they're not risking him on the synthetic surface. Also missing Curtis Main, he also has picked up an injury this week and doesn't make it onto the bench. So it's Harry Stone in goal, so back three, George Stanger, Lenny Agbear and Scott McMahon. Across the middle, Dylan Watchett, Conor McLean and Ben Dempsey, Jamie Murphy and Paddy Redding. And it's up top, Jay Henderson, and the Championship's 11 goal top goal scorer George Oakley. On the bench, Much, Musonda, Devlin, Hasty, Mackenzie, Roos, Mitchell, McKinnon. The ref is Matthew McDermott, and we don't have VAR.
He'll be finished by 5 o'clock while everyone else is hanging on for dear life at the end. Thank you, Roger Hanna. We will go back, as we always do, on a Saturday. Hugh Keevins, he was in a ropey mood to begin with. It's even worse because Nottingham Forest are beating Brighton 7-0. Have a word.
Do you know what you can do with your analytics and your algorithms, Mr. Brighton man? You can go and sack the manager. That's what you can do.
Unbelievable. What a scoreline that is. If we've got half the drama in Scottish football, we will take it this afternoon, and we'll look back on the week's biggest talking points next.
I've got a new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra and my umbrella. You see, Now Brief with Galaxy AI learns my schedule to keep me one step ahead of my day. Activity stats, my diary, transport updates, and the weather. Thanks, Now Brief. Pre-order the epic new Galaxy S25 Ultra at Samsung.com by the 6th of February and get 512 gigabytes for the price of 256 gigabytes. Operates as a price discount. T's and C's apply. Samsung account login and network connection required.
There's cars and SUVs. Then there's vans and pickups. Looking for expert advice on your next vehicle? Our Toyota and Lexus business team are here to help. Whether it's electric, hybrid, petrol, diesel or hydrogen vehicles, our dedicated team offers comprehensive consultancy for large and small fleets. With our award-winning reliability, recognised by the What Car Awards, we keep your vehicles on the road and your business running smoothly. Search Toyota and Lexus Business to learn more. Lexus, awarded Best for Reliability in the 2023 What Car Awards.
The way you eat a cream egg says everything about you. If you eat yours in small nibbles, that means you're real deep. You can sense when someone's about to text you. Huh. Your dreams mean stuff. You keep all your birthday cards in a little box. And you happy cry at anything heartwarming. Search Cream Egg Test to find out who you really are. Cadbury Cream Egg. How do you eat yours?
Football. It has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye. Right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in Rose Ed. The good news is the Ladbrokes Acca gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your Acca. It's a gaffer of an Acca. From Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 of boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel in the studio. The top team round the grounds as well as we look ahead to big games at 3 o'clock. We always pause for reflection at this point on a Saturday though and look at some of the week's biggest talking points. So let's do that. Bayern Munich, David Friel, are you giving Celtic much of a chance?
It's going to be difficult, Gordon. It's funny, over the last couple of days, people asking who would you prefer to play, Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. I do think Real Madrid are probably a little step up. I would fancy Real Madrid to win about one. I don't think Bayern Munich will win the Champions League. However, it's still a daunting prospect for Celtic. I think Brendan Rodgers will hope and feel that Celtic can be competitive to a point at Celtic Park and maybe cause some problems. I think over in the Alliance it's going to be very, very difficult. You can see it as a reward for the club and a glamour tie, but in terms of the football, it's a very, very tough draw.
Yeah, I mean, Roger Hanna, in that regard, I suppose you're in it to sort of play these teams. Brendan Rodgers met Bayern Munich, didn't he, in his first spell as Celtic manager. There's just so much going around this because you don't even know what the Celtic squad will look like by the time that comes around.
I think it's a fantastic tie. With all due respect to Slovan Bratislava, Young Boys, Dinamo Zagreb, they're European games you forget very quickly. When it's the Bayern Munichs of this world, these are games the supporters talk about for years. It's Harry Kane, it's Jamal Musiala, it's Leroy Sané. It's going to be fantastic. I think it's great, as David says, the first legs in Glasgow. It gives Celtic, hopefully, for them, something to hold on to go to the Allianz. But it's funny, they've played German sides twice this season, Gordon. At home to Leipzig, Celtic's best display in Europe for years. Away to Dortmund, the worst display in Europe for years. So they'll be hoping to sort of level out those performances, I would say, against Bayern. But it's a fantastic draw. The supporters, the home supporters, will be really looking forward to it. It seems a shame that the idiocy of a very, very small minority is unlikely to allow them to go to the Allianz Arena to support their team.
Yeah, I suppose, Fraser, once it gets to this stage of that disciplinary structure that UEFA have, I mean, it seems extremely harsh that one person can rock in, do something untoward, and then the whole fan base has to miss out. But clearly there is, it's a culmination that gets you to this point, and that is what strict liability is all about. That's why UEFA do it. It's part of the reason I think that we don't do it here. There is no perfect way, but Celtic fans possibly about to find out just how unforgiving it can be.
Well, they can't say they weren't warned, Gordon. Whether you like it or not, whether we agree with what UEFA do, they're in charge, it's their rules, and the Celtic fans have been, the club have been fined for the behaviour of their fans over many, many years and cost the club an awful lot of money, with banners, with flags, with tifos, and now with the pyros as well. So you can't say. I mean, the last one was, listen, don't do it again or else. And if you go and do it again, I'm afraid for the vast majority of supporters who go to the games and behave themselves, they're going to have to hopefully not, but it looks likely that they might have to miss the next game. And it's a huge game as well. What a game to miss. It's a great journey across the air. I can't even remember when the last time Celtic played Bayern Munich. You can remember they played Barcelona many times in a row and they wanted fans were saying, listen, can not get Real Madrid, so they got Real Madrid. It's just it's a real mouth-watering tie, and as the guys were saying there, to get the home game first, usually you want the home game second, but in this stage I think Celtic can cause problems at Celtic Park, and if they can get a lead to hang on to, then they've got a chance, and the supporters might not get the chance to see their team try and progress. So in a week where you're talking Stuart Kettlewell as well, and in recent weeks you've had bottles thrown at managers and coins hitting players on the field as well, so fan behaviour's coming into focus yet again.
Let's wait and see what that hearing brings about. Might not look too good for Celtic fans, but we will wait and see. I suppose the next question though, David Friel, is what condition will the Celtic squad be in? Because going to Villa Park without the departed Kyogo, the suspended Maeda, the injured Carter Vickers, that made an already tough task even harder. How much do you believe significant improvements will be made by Monday?
Significant improvements. I think Celtic will have a striker and a left back in, Gordon. I think Celtic need to get a striker and a left back in. When Kyogo was sold, think we all agreed it was a good deal for Celtic. The player wanted to go, so you don't keep an unhappy player. But the longer this is going on, the more I feel Celtic are going to go down the loan route instead of paying. Maybe they feel over the odds for someone to get them in on a permanent deal. Kelechi Iheanacho, Brendan Rodgers' former player at Leicester, is clearly he's one of interest to Celtic. They're in talks with Sevilla over that. I do wonder whether it'll be someone of that ilk coming in over the next few days. And the left back situation has probably been, Brendan Rodgers used the phrase moving parts the other week. Obviously Kieran Tierney is now going to stay at Arsenal. I think the unexpected one was probably Alec Bailly, being so adamant that he was going to go to Como, and that's left Celtic with a gaping hole at left back. You've only got Greg Taylor there and maybe Liam Scales who could fill in, so I think that's an area Celtic will look to strengthen in as well. But it wouldn't surprise me if 2 loans come in as opposed to any permanent players.
So that definitely no Kieran Tierney this window for you then?
No, I think Arsenal have just closed the door on it, and it's a bit strange that they opt not to take up the year option and then they start playing him a lot. But I think Arsenal have just looked at it. They're fighting on a few fronts, and Kieran Tierney, by all accounts, obviously well liked by Mikel Arteta, a popular man around the squad, and I think they just feel that they'd rather have him for the last few months. And Gordon, to be honest with you, I think that was always going to be a pretty difficult one for Celtic to pull off, just in terms of the finances at stake. It might only be 5 or 6 months of money for Kieran Tierney, but that's a lot of money. Someone was probably going to have to meet in the middle somewhere, so it doesn't really surprise me that Arsenal have decided just to keep a hold of him, but he'll definitely come in the summer.
How big an achievement was what Rangers managed, Roger Hannah? A 10% chance apparently. Mark Wilson was right earlier on when he said that when we left on Thursday we didn't think they would make the top 8. That wasn't out of any sort of disrespect to Rangers. I think we thought they would probably win their game, but everything else aligned in the top 8 of the Europa League.
Every time you look at this from a different angle, it becomes all the more astonishing, Gordon, because of the 7 teams that finished above them, Rangers actually played 4 of them. I think the 2 English Premier League teams plus Lyon and Olympiacos. They finished the last game on Thursday night with Zach Lovelace and Paul Incio in the team. They started with Leon King at right back. They had a spell with Ross McCausland at right back. James Tavernier was at centre back. They've been through an entire campaign without Yanis Hadji or Danilo or Clinton Nsiala. The new lad Rafael Fernandez wasn't available the other night, and somehow they just keep defying all sort of predictions in Europe. They've not been great at home. We've gone over that time and again, and yet they just seem on a Thursday night, home and away in Europe, they just seem a completely different team. They've earned a couple of midweeks off that they'll get. And you look at that draw, whoever it is in the last 16, Anderlecht or 20 or Bodo Glimt or Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce, fingers crossed, because that would be terrific. And Rangers won't fear any of them, Gordon. It's quite remarkable.
You and Jose Mourinho need to come head to head. 2 of the sharpest footballing minds the
that would be my dream.
I
think Josie and I could sit down and have a chat.
Really that would be your dream. I thought you'd had a lot a lot better dreams than that.
In the football world, I would love to. I got near him one day. I was in Manchester and we were in the same theatre, and I tried to get into his box, and on foot I mean his box and
his private box.
I got that, thanks.
And unfortunately I was removed by the security.
So if he's a special one,
sounds uncomfortable.
I'm just the Dazzler and the special one together on a journey.
The untruthful one, I suspect.
Sounds like the worst ITV documentary ever.
The wacky one and the special one.
I mean, Fraser Rogers, right? There are so many lenses to look at this from. I mean, this is not. It's not as if this is a Rangers team that's flying at the top of our league and really sweeping everything before them, and then they take that into Europe. It seems 2 separate things, albeit they now maybe look like they are finding form away from home in the league, if Tannadice is anything to go by. But you add that to the level of opposition they played, to the various different types of squad absentee that they had, to finish top 8. It's a real feather in the cap of the manager, is it not?
It's absolutely brilliant, and it's maybe it's because they're suited to playing against teams that come onto them, and they don't get that often in Scotland, where Rangers will dictate the play and have most of the possession, and teams will sit back and just play defensive formations against them. They can't seem to break them down. They don't have that type of player, but what they seem to have is the players that can go on the break, and they've looked dangerous in every single game they've played in Europe. And as Roger said, one of the keys of getting top 8 is, of course, you're guaranteed last 16, but you get 2 midweeks off, and a run probably since mid-December, beginning of December, where there's been game after game after game. then I think they'll take that and they'll absolutely welcome that. And the teams that they will play are one of the 4 teams they will play in the next round as well. And they're not, you wouldn't say they're massively better than Rangers will, so they've got a really good chance of getting into the quarter-finals as well. So it's very strange. But Dessers was brilliant the other night, so there's somebody who's had a lot of criticism from supporters. He's been brilliant in the last couple of games as well. Igamani did well on the left-hand side. They've got players who can hurt teams in Europe when you hit them on the break. So fantastic nights, and great to see 2 of our teams well into 2025 and still in the European competition, and some exciting nights for both Rangers and Celtic supporters.
Will that extra financial boost, Roger Hannah, allow Rangers to do more business in the coming days?
It was interesting listening to Philip Clement's comments yesterday, Gordon, and for the first time he actually sounded a bit positive that it might, David's talking there about Kelechi Iheanacho coming into Celtic potentially on loan. I would imagine anything Rangers do would be on loan as well. I'm not sure the areas has already got Rafael Fernandes at the back. Does he need another defender though? When you look, the likes of Sterling, Casemiro, Balogun, King all missing at the minute. Could he look at another one there? And would he like another guy to come into that area behind the front men at a time when Robbie Matondo and Kieran Dowell have gone out of the club? So that may be 2 areas he looks at, but I would think they would try to do some business before Monday night.
Any thoughts on who is a supposed easier opponent for Rangers? Is there much between them, Roger, would you say? I know we all want Jose Mourinho for the entertainment factor, but in terms of a footballing challenge?
In terms of a footballing challenge, I think it would be the toughest. They wouldn't fear Anderlecht. They put away Union Saint-Gilloise on Thursday night. I don't think they would particularly fear Twente when you see what they've done against the likes of PSV and Feyenoord and gone toe-to-toe with them in recent years. Fenerbahce, I think, would be the toughest task. They're a quality team. They've got a manager who, everybody knows what Jose Mourinho has done in his career, so it would be exciting, but I think it would be the toughest task.
What do you think, David Friel? Is it much between them? The Rangers just take any of them and fancy them?
I'm not convinced FC Twente. I think that would probably be maybe a favourable one, just in terms of you look at the players, as Roger says and the guys are saying. I think Fenerbahce would be the most spectacular in terms of getting Mourinho in Glasgow, but I think it's a winnable tie regardless of who Rangers play. Gordon, their form in Europe's been exceptional. At the game Covenant the other night, I thought they were excellent again. It was a bit hairy at the end, but they fully deserved a top 8 finish. And Philippe Clement earned some more money, and you just need to wait and see where the board spends some in the coming days.
Looking forward to it, but that can go on the back burner for now because we've got big games to look forward to tomorrow as well. Of course, what an intriguing fixture. How will Celtic respond to European action? Will Jota make his second debut? And it's not often you get into a game like this where the other team in Motherwell have had just as many column inches as Celtic have as well, given their managerial situation. Rangers hosting Ross County as well, but plenty more to come, and we go back round the grounds ahead of the 3 o'clock kickoffs next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel, all here, all in the studio, all looking forward, or so they tell me, to the 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon. Don't forget, you can stay in touch all day on Twitter, whether that is on today's action, tomorrow, a look back on Europe, transfer window, any of the other nonsense that these three might come out with between now and 6 o'clock. Share it with us, please, on Twitter. Let's go back to Hibs against Aberdeen, because we spoke a bit earlier on about just how bad this drop-off is from Aberdeen and when it'll ever change and if it'll ever change. I suppose, David, feel the longer this goes, you maybe let them away with a one-off last week, but already early signs that the win against Elgin in the Cup was just that, didn't have any knock-on effect in the league. Yeah,
I think they were just a few levels above Elgin, and I think Jimmy Tilleen hoped that would just kick-start, get back to winning ways and maybe take confidence from it. But you would probably say the St Mirren performance was as bad as it's been in this 13-14 game run. Gordon, he's trying everything, and I think the big problem for Aberdeen just now is they don't have a reliable striker. You look at Hibs and their resurgences kind of coincided with Dwight Gale hitting form. Martin Boyle, who was out of sorts at the start of the season, has been playing really, really well, and they've got an attacking threat. Whereas you look at Aberdeen, they've tried everybody up front. It's Papi Gueye, who was obviously injured for a long time. They've tried Esther Sokler. Kevin Nisbet come in on big wages, I think, and hasn't really hit the ground running. You've got Peter Ambrose, who's been in and out as well. And it's no real surprise that Aberdeen in the final days are going to go and sign a striker, because I think he needs that focal point. I'm only worried about the Serbian striker Marko Lazic. He's on AC Milan's books, but he's been in the Serbian league for the first half of the season. He's played 23 games and he's got a grand total of 0 goals. So I don't know if he's going to come in and hit the ground running, if that one can go over the line. So I think Jimmy Tillene has serious problems. I think he needs a focal point in attack, but he also needs other guys, as I mentioned earlier, guys like Keskinen. Big money in Scottish football terms are paid in him, nearly £1 million. He needs to start delivering for them. What will
Hibs look to do in the coming days? Because we're looking at it in a more negative sense earlier, asking can Aberdeen drop out of the top 6. Realistically, if you're Hibs, you're the informed team in the league, you would have third in your sights, would you not? Which sounds crazy to say. They're 7 points off third. We've only played 24 matches, so maybe with a bit of something extra this January they can really kick on even more.
Yeah, I think Hibs will be active. I mean, it looks like Eli Yuan, who is injured just now, he's attracting a fair bit of interest by the sounds of it from the Championship, and I'm just seeing earlier at Stoke City, the latest club to be looking at him. So you would imagine that Hibs, if they do get a bit of money in for him, will look to reinvest it elsewhere. And they do have quite a lot of attackers. You get guys like Junior Hoyle, like Kieran Bowie, who was their kind of main summer signing, has been injured for so long. He's on the bench today. But I do think they could maybe do with something else in the middle of the park. I think Triantis has been excellent for them, Gordon, but Dylan Levitt, Joe Newell, I just wonder whether, Quan's in there too, but he's not really convinced. I just wonder whether David Gray will look at that kind of central midfield area as somewhere he could probably strengthen.
Well, we're looking forward to that one anyway. Hibs against Aberdeen. If we get even half of the drama that we got when these sides met at Easter Road, that 3-3 draw earlier in the season, we will absolutely take it. St Mirren against St Johnstone. Fraser Wishart, I suppose when you're the bottom team and you are a bit desperate, you have to do something drastic. That is what St Johnstone's done. What was the number you said? Was it 5-6 players brought in already?
Yeah,
really
6 players. Yeah, absolutely. And the chairman's recovered from illness as well, so he's back involved, and the owner, and he's clearly got the chequebook out and given Simo Valakari quite a bit of licence as well. So 6 players is a lot, and you're attracting players who are coming to the bottom team, as you said, Gordon. But they've got a chance. I mean, I think today's a big game for them. I think they have to keep this momentum going. They've got 2 victories against Motherwell, 1 in the cup and 1 in the league, but they are still 7 points behind with 12 games to go, and you're probably going to need another 20 points from 12 games to stay up. That's a lot of points. And so it's going to be really difficult, because when you get at the bottom, obviously you're a team that doesn't win many games. But if they win today and Killie and or Ross County lose over the weekend, then they've got a wee chance to begin to put the fear into teams above them. But for St Mirren, they don't want to get dragged into that battle. If they were to lose today and Killie pick up some points, all of a sudden that relegation spot, the playoff place, that comes into play as well. So an important game for both teams here.
How important is Toyosi Olusanya for St Mirren? Fraser, he's got 11 goals in all competitions this season, but I was looking at the games in which he's scored as well. They beat Hearts by 1 goal, he scored in the game. They beat Aberdeen by 1 goal, he scored in the game. He's managed to get some important goals at important times, plus that volume. I think 11 is decent for a St Mirren striker at this stage.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a huge turnaround in the last couple of years. When he signed, he just didn't impress. He was on loan to Arbroath for a period when they were in the Championship. Over the last year and a half, he's been absolutely terrific. What he does is he stretches teams. He's very quick, and he's a strongly built guy as well. He's got a bit of height about him, but he's very quick, so he's always looking to go in behind, and he pushes teams back. And St Mirren play that way. St Mirren get the ball forward early. They do play with a lot of energy. Their midfield is full of guys like O'Hara's playing in midfield as well, who's a good runner off the ball and gets into the box. So they get up the park quickly, and Olusanya is absolutely key to that. Mandron plays well beside him when he's more of the kind of target man, the guy that stands still, good in the air, gets the ball onto his feet. But Olusanya's the man that really gives him a spark with his energy and his pace, and he's been terrific so far.
You look at the Dens Park game, Dundee against Hearts, Dave Galloway. Just how big is this if both these sides have got top 6 aspirations?
It's massive for both teams. It should be a really good contest, I would say. Dundee, they've stood up very well to both halves of the old firm recently. They'll fancy their chances against any team at Dens Park. They play attractive attacking football. However, they could do with keeping things tighter at the back. They don't keep many clean sheets. Hearts were, really down in the dumps when they came up here in August. They lost 3-1 on their last visit. Dreadful start to the campaign, 10 without victory here in League and Cup, but they're in a much better place now, and victory would take them above their hosts in the table. So it's set up for a cracking contest.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I mean, Mark, when you look at Hearts, it's it started being pointed out in recent weeks, but because they didn't climb the table that quickly, I think there was this assumption or this accusation that Neil Critchley hadn't really had that much of an impact. But if you look at the table since he came in, they are one of the top performing teams in the league. He has had the impact. It just didn't, maybe to do with what we were talking about earlier with sort of how tight it is, or certain results go in different ways. It just took a bit for it to show itself in the league table.
Yeah, well, I think that's natural sometimes. Look, we're all used to managers coming in and having that instant bounce, but for long-term success you need to put across your principles, and sometimes that takes a wee bit of time to get through to the players and understanding the way the regime goes from Monday to Friday. I think they're seeing the fruits of that so far in the last couple of weeks, and you think a win today, where that puts them. Hibs and Hearts, from where they were earlier on the season, I think we all said it, they're that big clubs and big squads that we all thought they could turn it round, but by the start of February they could be top 6. I don't think I expected it that quick. So huge opportunity for them today, and they've got good players. When you've got good players, if you get it right tactically, you're going to obviously win more games than you lose.
Since he arrived, Gordon Dalziel, only Celtic and Rangers have taken more points. I don't think enough people have noticed that, if that makes sense.
I think the reason why they've not noticed it is because of the way Hibs went about their business. Everybody looked at them, everybody was concentrating on Hibs. Hearts found themselves at the bottom of the league.
But that's what I'm saying. Since he arrived, they've taken more points, or is it the same points as Hibs, I think, but in one fewer game.
But it's all about climbing the league. It's all about looking up for Hearts now, and I think they will. Don't get me wrong, I think Dave's in for a good game there at Dens. I think that'll be difficult this afternoon. I don't think they'll lose, but I'm not 100% convinced that they're going to come away with the 3 points.
I think Critchley's also bought well. We know that they're up to their elbows in analytics and all the rest of it, but Elton Kabangu has started to look like a very good signing. And in James Penrice, they have one of the best players in the Premiership. Not just that one of the best players at Hearts, one of the best players in the Premiership, and he has higher to climb. So I think the recognition will come. I think they'll win today, and the higher up they go, they'll leapfrog Dundee by winning today, and the higher he goes, the more credit Neil Critchley will get.
Roger Hanna, maybe look at your fixture between Hamilton and Ayr, but give us more of an overview of the Scottish Championship as well, because last night was massive, wasn't it? Livingston going and doing a number on the league leaders Falkirk, and they sit just 1 point behind them. Ayr 1 point behind that. It's usually the entire table that's really tight, but it feels like the top 4 is maybe already sewn up.
Yeah, I would have said so, and it'll be a fascinating title fight. In recent years there's been a bigger club with a bigger budget. Gordon, there's been a Dundee United or a Kilmarnock or a Dundee. You go back the last 10 years, Rangers, Hearts, Hibs have all been in the Championship. It's more of a level playing field this season, and I think you're seeing that with the sides at the top. I think Thistle, who take on Morton at Firhill today, they should be secure in 4th place, and the 3 above them will fight out for the title. You wonder about Falkirk. Producer John won't like it, but it's a bit of a wobble. Draw with Dunfermline, draw with Queen's Park, out to Kirkcaldy, losing to Livingston. That's 1 point they've taken from 3 games against Livy this season, and I thought they sort of played into Livingston's hands a little bit last night. Falkirk for me have always been a side that got it down and tried to play round about their opponents. I thought they started they wanted to start a fight with Livingston last night, and you don't want to do that against Livingston, so it's thrown the whole thing wide open. If Ayr can get a win today, top of the league, and 53 weeks into the Scott Brown and Stephen Whittaker tenure, it's been a remarkable transformation.
Great news for Hamilton Accies, who've just been awarded the loudest PA system in Scottish football, so that's a great accolade.
Can I just say to you, I don't mind the tannoy system, but the boy to my left with a big drum, I would like to put him where Hugh Keevins would like to put the Brighton manager.
It's all about colour, noise, atmosphere. Roger Hannah, come on, get with the times. We will have the 3 o'clock kickoffs getting underway when we return.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel are here. The 3 o'clock games in the Scottish Premiership, plus our featured Championship game. All the 3 o'clock games around the country are getting underway, so why not put us out of our misery? Tell the whole nation. They don't even need to bother keeping an eye for the rest of the afternoon. You 3 are going to tell them how these games will end up today.
It is not Mamma Mia Day for the Swede at Pittodrie. I think Hibs will continue the misery for Jimmy Tilleen, home win there. St Johnstone will lose in Paisley. Hearts will beat Dundee at Dens Park, and Brunei will go top of the Championship with an Ayr United win over the Accies.
Only one result different there from EQ. Hibs and Aberdeen will be a draw. St Mirren will beat St Johnstone. Yep, Hearts will win at Dens, and Ayr will beat Hamlin.
Dundee Hearts draw, Ayr to go top of the league, St Mirren to beat St Johnstone, and Aberdeen to beat Hibs.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get advice on keeping infections and viruses away when school returns.
It's a huge shout. You think Aberdeen return to winning ways away at the informed team in the league?
Just everything about, and plus the fact what happened before with Jim Goodwin. It's got its history there. Aberdeen haven't won in 13. I think roles will be reversed. Jim Goodwin was sacked as Aberdeen manager. I think this Aberdeen manager will get a lift.
Imagine it's another 6. Imagine Hibs win by 6. Would Jimmy Tilleen then come under pressure?
No, he'd be sacked.
I'm just very confused that you're thinking here, but anyway, we will see. See when on a Monday night when Roger Hannah and usually Andy Halliday have to pick like a top man, a top performer, sometimes a quirky moment from the weekend's action. I think it has to go to the Hamilton Accies mascot today, walking out hand in hand with the captain. He's 60 years of age.
Good, I like that.
That's brilliant.
Got it for his 60th birthday.
I love that.
Remember we were going to try and get Hugh to do it at Clydebank, Hibs, Clydebank the other week. There you go.
Do you know something?
Happy 60th away and walk out with your team.
But that's great. 60-year-old, you're still supporting your club. I know a few people there, and Karen's listening. I spoke to her Nasda yesterday, so I got him to say hello to Roger. He's looking forward to seeing you. But that's brilliant. I think that is romance of football.
At least that's obviously a joke, though. I'm sure one of my mates did it when he was like 12 and he was bigger than like the Motherwell captain at the time.
I love seeing that. The stag does.
You don't go
that's
hand
what I mean,
in
but
hand,
at least that's obviously a joke.
Yeah.
If you're just a child but you're far too old.
I spoke to the chairperson of Clydebank, Grace, who was on this programme after they had played Hibs at Easter Road, and she said, yes, I can be the mascot if I buy a strip.
The full strip, shorts, socks, the lot, and those brown shoes you've got.
Brogues.
Let's do it. We do have our first goal in Scotland, down the leagues though. League One, a team who very much needs victories. Dumbarton 1, Alloa 0. James Hilton with the goal there, so nothing to tell you about yet in our early kick-offs. But don't forget, just in case you're counting them up and adding the 2 on tomorrow and wondering why that doesn't amount to 6 Premiership games, Kilmarnock against Dundee United is tonight. The evening kick-off down there at Rugby Park. So Dundee United flying. Oh yes, they lost at home to Rangers last week. They've added Alan Campbell to their squad this week, former favourite of yours at Fir Park.
I'll tell you what, I said on Thursday night, I'll give Jim Goodwin a lot of credit. His recruitment this year has been brilliant. The Dundee United fans must be over the moon the way he's went about his business, and that is another very good addition to the squad.
Looked a bit chunky to me in his welcome to Tannadice photo.
Really?
Had the Dundee United strip on.
Is the story no go that he's an incredibly hard worker, used to do extra like all the time? Maybe he's just
he's always have that shape.
He's like this guy.
Speaking of which, Hugh,
bulking up.
broadcasting plunged to new depths today. When I arrived at this office, I was late because I was building my daughter's new bed on one of the worst tasks ever of all time, and came in here very late to find one of you three sitting eating a jar of overnight oats for the pre-show snack.
I am telling you soon, and I'll reveal his identity in this way. In a couple of weeks' time, he'll say he saw spacemen at Motherwell Cross.
That narrows it down. I'm never in Motherwell, Hugh. By the way, when you say a jar, overnight oats I've seen come in quite a small jar. This jar resembled, see something you put your coffee in or your tea bags, one of those big ones.
You do realise, if you put pound coins in it, you'd be a millionaire.
You do realise it's not healthy if you eat a kilo's worth.
No, it's not.
That defeats the purpose.
All I'll say to you guys is, right, I'm fed up with you. See, if you won't support me in my journey, I will walk this journey alone. Right, it's as simple as that. And you're supposed to go, you'll never walk alone. You know what I mean?
I've not said it. I'm not going to support you. I'm going to try everything I can to derail you from this fitness kit.
Where do you see yourself at journey's end?
I see myself in a better place and a better person.
Six pack.
I'm absolutely loving it. You know what I mean? A great believer. If you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down, Hugh. You've got to just go for it.
So by that you mean your man boobs, you're giving them up because they weigh you down.
That's pure muscle I've got.
Literally that sentence though is what you're trying to do.
Do you see these biceps are frightening just now?
I want to know the book that you take all these quotes from. I want to have a look at it.
I'll tell you what it is. It's called TikTok at 3 a.m. when he's lying awake.
No, I said it's Buddhism. He's into Buddhism.
Sure I do. I was reading that this morning.
Anyway, before we stray too far off whatever this path is he's walking, let's do this, Hugh.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
The Six Nations kicks off this weekend. That's rugby, Dazzler. Scotland are playing Italy today, but can you name me the Six Nations that the Scotland men's team have played more than once and have a 100% win rate against?
So any Six Nations though, because there are more.
Yes, there are 12.
Let's clarify.
There are 12 in total, but just give me 50% of them. They've played Scotland twice, and Scotland have beaten them twice.
I could tell you one right
a bit
away.
of imagination applied there. So the Six Nations kicks off this weekend in the rugby. Can you name any Six Nations that Scotland's men's football team have a 100% win rate against, but they have to have played them more than once? They have to have played them more than once.
I don't think Gordon's understood the question.
What have you written down? Kenny Miller or something?
No. Show him the country you've put.
Italy.
So you think Scotland men's team have a 100% record against Italy?
Yeah, they know.
No.
What?
I know where he's thinking here. You're thinking the wrong sport.
Are you thinking rugby?
Why would we
be thinking rugby?
No, but why
is the question?
Like, we've linked it to rugby because of the Six Nations, but why would we be asking a rugby trivia question?
I don't know. I thought you just mixed it up. And I thought, do you know something? I like the imagination of producer John this afternoon.
One more time. The Six Nations rugby kicks off. So as a nod to that,
right, that's where I'm going with that.
Can you name any Six Nations that Scotland men's football team have played more than once but have a 100% record against?
I wonder how you mocked Italy there.
Not Italy.
Get Portugal down there on that list as well. I saw Scotland beating them.
England.
Gary Cook has sent me a picture of this 60-year-old mascot at Hamilton Accies. I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm not sure if this actually adds to it. In fact, he's not got the shorts and socks. He's just got like dress shoes and jeans on and
that's awkward.
Top.
If you're the captain, that's awkward.
Mark,
that's more awkward.
I think it would be awkward anyway. He's 60 years of age.
What do you say to him?
You'd walk out beside him. You don't hold his hand around.
You have to hold his hand. That's the rule of mascots.
No,
got to, surely.
I'd have the gloves on with the fingers out, right? You hold them there, and you. The Alan Burrows suit.
Mark Wilson, the Charlie Mulgrew era at Kelty Hearts is up and running.
Yes, go on, Charlie.
Kelty 1, Annan 0. Liam McLeish, did not just sign him yesterday? I think he did.
Signing.
Just walk. He's got his recruitment down already. Your old teammate.
Yep. two old teammates there, him and Mark Kerr, two great guys, so wish him all the success in the world.
Is Scotty back playing? Scotty Allen?
Yes.
Is he?
Is he starting though? That would be the question.
He's coming in next Friday to give us a full insight into Mulgrew, the manager,
the philosophy, the model,
the journey that Gordon Dalziel.
No, he's on the bench.
Oh,
is he?
Oh, it's a big call, that, isn't it?
But he's in the dressing room.
But he was assistant manager. Charlie will have him at the door next week. He was assistant manager, so. And he's just back in. He's Scotty, but he's a good player to bring off the bench.
Anyway, right, we'll see what happens in that one. Elgin won his 5-0, both at the right end of that League 2 table. Kyle Girvan in 10 minutes. Still nothing in our featured Championship or Premiership matches. If you are that way inclined, I won't labour the point because I know not many people in this studio are. At half time in the rugby, it is Scotland 19, Italy 9.
There you go. They beat Italy every time.
Exactly, you are right.
I was so proud.
I told you that when I went to the rugby, a great day out run about the stadium, apart from the game. The game ruined it. Everything else was great.
I totally agree with you. I went Scotland, England and walked out after 16 minutes. I thought, I'm not watching that
the
nonsense.
best bit in the stadium was the national anthem.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced they played it over the loudspeaker as well, like a crowd noise, so it sounded more impressive.
Maybe,
but that was impressive.
Know.
And then it went a bit flat.
There we are. Right, so let's see if we can get any goals nice and early. Get your answers into that teaser. Hugh Keevins' afternoon's already ruined by the early English game. Nottingham Forest 7, Brighton 0. That is a sensational scoreline.
Well, I just have to say my grandson deserves it.
I thought there was going to be a story there.
It's a story.
He texted me when it went to Aston Villa 2, Celtic 2, and Adamida had scored his second goal, and he texted me berating his grandfather for his previous comments on the subject of Adamida.
He gets it. He gets the assignment here. You say daft things, people remind you of them. The other thing that jumped out at me, apart from the obvious stat, the 7-0, Nottingham Forest, 7 goals, none conceded, 36% possession.
That's incredible, isn't it, in football?
So it reminds me of all the Motherwell fans we've had in the last few weeks complaining that the possession isn't high enough. Nottingham Forest just scored 7.
Here's a question.
By the way,
did Dundee not do that last week, 2 weeks ago?
At St Johnstone
they scored 3. Yeah,
about 30%
in the English Premier League, given that they call it the best league in the world, etc., etc., should there really be 7 goals between teams?
Yeah. It's not as if Brighton are
on any given
case.
Saturday, no. But that
unprofessional. That's what it is. Hugh.
Completely.
That is what it is. 10 minutes gone. Fraser Wishart says at the Smiza Stadium, and nothing happening. Nothing at all.
The feeling that might be the case in that one today. I think 1 goal will win it, but I think it will go St Mirren's way. I think those two up top, Mandron and Osanya, I was saying to Daz just off mic, those two are a handful, isn't it, to play against for any back four. Osanya always seems to get on the end of a bouncing ball,
100%, with the defender chasing his own goal constantly all season long.
Nicks it or he barges him and he gets you up the pitch. A real danger.
Edinburgh City 1, Stirling Albion 0. Innes Lawson with the goal. So we're getting some goal action down the leagues, League 1 and League 2. Just those 3 Premiership games that need to come to life a bit more.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit surprised by that because, you know, as we pointed out earlier on, Hearts have been motoring. Hibs are the form side in the Premiership, and with Olasanya, I thought St Mirren would be up against St Johnstone by this time already. So surprising on all 3 fronts.
Aberdeen looking the sharper at Easter Road. Gordon Dalziel, obviously inspired by your pre-match prediction.
Look, they've got to turn the corner somehow and somewhere, and it'd be fitting if they achieved that after what happened with Jim Goodwin the last time they were there. So no, I'm not talking about the last time Jim was there as a manager. So look, they've got good players, and sometimes it just needs a little bit of luck, something different, and it might just happen today for them.
Pretty even between Dundee and Hearts. The only real chance, that Lawrence Shankland header, but that was earlier on in the game. Back in the starting 11 today, Lawrence Shankland, he was back on the bench for the first time since Boxing Day last week. Came on back into the starting 11. Funny how things change, isn't it?
It's been a bit quiet.
How many transfer windows in a row did we go through with Lawrence Shankland? Not a whisper. And we're nearly at the end of this one.
And that's why the cynic in you thinks not a mention, not a whisper, as you say. He'll probably be sold on Monday then.
It's probably the opposite now, isn't it, though? Because the contract's up at the end of the season, isn't it? So is anyone in any real hurry?
If
It's
we any
amazing how things
idea
turn
where he's going to end up, Longchamp? You know, I wouldn't think he'd be short of offers. I know that this season's not been his best, but he's still a very good player that can score goals.
Penalty, Ayr United. It was a handball. Stephen Hendry of Accies from Connor McLennan's cross. No VAR, as Roger Hanna reminded us before the game. So that decision will stand, and Jay Henderson will take the spot kick to score the goal he hopes that would, as it stands, take Ayr top of the table. So let's see if he can keep his nerve from 12 yards. The mascot's dancing around behind the goal, trying to put him off, and it's worked because it's been saved.
No way.
Jay Henderson's penalty does not find the back of the net. Dean Linus saves it, and the wait for a first goal in any of our featured matches goes on.
Bit of a blow that for Scott Brown. I noticed him on TV last night at the Falkirk Livingston game, and you know, if he went top of the table by 5 o'clock tonight, you'd have to say it's quite an achievement for someone who started off at Aberdeen with Stephen Glass, didn't work out, went to Fleetwood, didn't work out, but this season moving very much in the right direction.
A bit of space there for Simon Murray, but he ends up shooting straight at Craig Gordon, and then up the other end. How quick was that?
Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Playing for a move, Lawrence Shankland. Dundee 0, Hearts 1. Just as Dundee had worked some space up the other end, it then goes up to Lawrence Shankland. And I know we've not said it enough this season, but that is what he tends to do. It's only his fourth goal of the season, only his his fourth goal of the league season, and a good time to get it. Couple of touches, great technique, just took it out his feet, left foot shot into the bottom corner. That will do him the world of good.
Absolutely brilliant for him. Obviously, just coming back for that injury, he's looking towards the summer. He's looking for a new club. He's looking to make the headlines. No better way than start scoring goals again. He's got it in his locker, no doubt. Good ability, and that's a good start for Hearts up at Dens.
If he hadn't had that season behind him last year, he was so good and scored so many goals and won the awards, he would be getting major stick just now, because 4 goals in 28 games for a striker at Hearts is not good enough. And he'll know that. I know he's had injuries, but he's been way off it. We all spoke early on this season. His link-up play was good.
VAR's having a look.
Well, 3 goals in 28 games as it stands is not good enough. But you are judged on your goals, and when you hit the highs that he did last season, you've got to back it up with at least run about double figures.
Goal given.
That's 4 goals. We've got to start learning that now. I've been here long enough. When you say goal, we don't go too early now.
I mean, everyone keeps banging on about the impact it has on fans in the stadium and
killing
players.
us.
What about us? Seriously,
Killing us.
What about us? Overlooked, but the goal does stand. Hearts got away with one with VAR last week, didn't they? Their opening goal.
Yep.
Just no real offside check. They didn't check it properly by the looks of things.
No.
So it was a long ball from Craig Gordon. Elton Kabangu was in an offside position. He stopped the Kilmarnock defence kind of getting to the ball and didn't really seem to notice.
Willie Collum has since called Derek McInnes, the Kilmarnock manager, to apologise, and that's Willie's problem right now. Too many apologies.
It doesn't change everything, because you know, if you've been hard done by, you've been hard done by. But also watching the game, I think Derek McInnes might have some question marks about his own team's defending thereafter.
Absolutely, but
sorry Hugh, look at this. I thought I was hearing the same message again.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal Hearts is Blair Spittle into the top corner, and all of a sudden Neil Critchley's side are motoring. It's a brilliant strike. We saw it so many times, didn't we, in the Claret and Amber of Motherwell last season. He's not done too badly since moving to Hearts, and that is another for his highlights reel. Blair Spittle finds the top corner, and as quick as a flash, that game looks like it's getting beyond Dundee.
Not the warm-up that Tony Docherty wants for the visit to Celtic Park on Wednesday night for the rescheduled match there. He spoke all week, Tony, about having players back from injury. He had his first 11v11 training match. everything was looking good, and now the game's beyond them already.
Bumped into Blair a couple of weeks ago, just after the breaking game. I said to him, I said, how's things? How are you enjoying it?
Whereabouts?
Just at a hotel.
Just listen, let him
we away for a weekend.
Just at a hotel.
Which Premier Inn was it?
We were slumming it. Up at the Eagles.
The Eagles.
Well, I tell you what, Blair Smell must have got a good bonus for beating Brecon.
Did you find one of your old Champions League bonuses under the mattress or something?
They're long gone, I'll tell you that. I'm lucky Leanne's got a good job to pay for
a few quid. He slums it with us on a Saturday, this guy.
By the way, I was going to say I wish I saw that Hearts goal last week, but last weekend I was in Edinburgh at that point. I was at the Johnny Walker experience. You
do get about, seriously.
On Princess Street. If anyone's not, you'd love it. Maybe not. I'm looking at Daz here, but he won it. He's off it.
He's abstaining.
It's a proper show about the creation of whiskey and Johnny. Magnificent. So this
anyway,
last
back
week,
to Blair Spittle.
Anyway, he was saying he was enjoying it under Neil Critchley. I said, why he enjoy? He says, well, he seems to like me and he plays me, so that's why. I mean, that's a simple thing with players. They like managers who play them every week, but he's rewarding them today. He's done all right at Hearts since he's went there. Not the heights like you saying, and Motherwell are scoring outstanding goals almost every second week, but done a decent job.
Yeah, it's a good return for Blair Spittle. I think you would. Is he sixth of the season?
Good player. He's a good player, Gordon.
You compare that to Shankland.
But Spittle's a good player.
They've come a bit spread out. I think that's, he scored 3 games in a row earlier in the season, and then maybe dried up a bit. But there we go, 2-0 up. Hearts are, and that's just exactly what Neil Critchley was looking for. Very, very much in control.
Well, I said that I thought that Hearts would find it difficult up there this afternoon, but it's certainly proven me wrong.
Plenty of time left.
I'm not holding out any hope.
And again, look, it's a bit
confidence.
It's a bit early in the day and a bit early in the season to be obsessed with the as it stands table. But just as a quick reference, I mean, that right now Hearts are 1 point off the top 6.
Yeah.
So, that looks like a matter of time.
And at the moment he enters the top 6, Neil Critchley, people will see him in a different light. When he started, Hibs were bottom, Hearts were second bottom, what happened to the capital city, etc, etc. But the moment he steps in to the top 6, it will symbolise a club on the rise and a manager on the rise.
Okay, Hugh, just remind us of your teaser if you can, please.
Yes, we have the 6 Nations beginning this week, and that's the key couple of words, 6 Nations. Tell me the 6 nations that Scotland's men's football team have played more than once and have a 100% win rate against. There are 12. Just give us 6 of them.
Yeah, I mean, because Celtic Stats and Trivia says there's a lot more than 6. Yes, we know, but you just have to give us any 6. We didn't want you to name them all. So let's see what we've got. Scott McDougall has gone for Lithuania.
They're not there.
Now, unfortunately, we've played them so many times, and I think they've certainly managed to take something off us at some point, so we don't have the 100% record there. And don't forget, we have to have played them more than once. KP Jer would like to throw in Luxembourg.
Luxembourg are not there.
Okay. Cameron Tilley would like to throw in CIS.
That was for a start, we played them in the 1992 European Championships.
We've only played them once,
and that was the game.
So there you are. So we have to have played these more than once. There are some teams we have a 100% record against, but we've only played them once. So keep your guesses coming at Clyde SSB. There's a former player of this part of the world, Joe Aribo, scoring to put Southampton 1 up at Ipswich in the English Premier League. Stranraer 1, Spartans 0. Sean Docherty there as well. And it really is all Hearts at the moment. We've got nothing else. Maybe a bit of a disappointing start for Hibs. Gordon Dalziel, they're one of the form teams. They've got good attacking threats, but haven't really got going yet.
Yeah, but I think Aberdeen, I said, would fancy something this afternoon. They need to start somewhere. They need to get back on to winning ways, or even been very difficult to beat, and that's what's probably happened. I think Hibs will need to be patient. I don't think there'll be a lot in this game, Gordon. I really don't. I know the last time with Jim Goodwin in the 6th really was a disaster for him. I know Aberdeen's form is poor, but I do not. I think this will be a tight game. I don't think David will be.
Well, finally a Hibs chance actually. Martin Boyle shot blocked at the back post. Nicky Cadden then on the rebound, deflected over. So that's really the first time Hibs have threatened. We're midway through the first half. They have started slowly, but they're not behind yet. It is goalless between Hibs and Aberdeen.
Well,
not much longer. It's not.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0, and it is Nectar Triantis. He's been in good form recently. A header from a corner. I feel like we've seen that before, and he's popped up again. He had a lovely part in the goal at Dingwall last weekend, and now he's scored one. So it's headed back across goal, and then he's the one that converts, and it is Hibs that lead Aberdeen by 1-0.
Now we have a situation we can get our teeth into, because that's bad for Jimmy Talleen, bad for the travelling support from Aberdeen. It now requires Aberdeen to score twice if they want to get that first win in 14 matches. But the ground rules have been set. Jimmy Talleen, the pressure was on him beginning the match. The pressure is really on him now.
A third goal of the season for Nectar Triantis. But that, in many ways though, Gordon, that's the problem, that once you've got yourself on the run that Aberdeen are on,
try to go for it.
And that's why people say, where's their next win going to come from? Because of course you can go to Hibs and not win the game. That doesn't mean Hugh's wrong. I take the point. You know, every defeat is more pressure. But when you built up such a bad run,
yep.
You know what I mean? Just as an example, if Aberdeen go to Easter Road and lose 1-0, that's hardly a disgrace, is it, in isolation? But when it's number 14 or whatever it would be on a run, then it's a fairly drastic scenario.
Yeah, they're in real trouble. There's a great saying that the fact that winning's a habit, and so is losing games. You can get in the habit of losing games. That's where Aberdeen are right now, and they've lost another goal there to Hibs. All credit to Hibs. If they win the game today, the leapfrog Motherwell into 5th place. Who would have seen that a few months ago? But David Gray, they stuck with him. I think he's handled it brilliantly. He's got his team back playing, scoring goals. Boyle's been a big plus for him as well. But for Aberdeen, once again, it's come from a set play. That's something that they'll be working on every day of the week, to say, right, we make sure we don't lose goals at set play, try and be hard to beat. And you're 24, 25 minutes on the clock away from home, and you lose a goal from a set play. It's not good enough.
That's not been their Achilles heels. They've lost goals for set play, but they're losing such a variety of goals all over the pitch, the way that they're setting up, which once looked so good. It looked a solid foundation with a back four and a goalkeeper that was reliable, and it was allowed the full-backs to go up and join in the attacks, and they almost pinned teams in. And now it looks the complete opposite. The back four's chopping and changing now. It's looking fragile at set pieces and open play, and it's an issue. And I think mentally, losing that first goal today, that's a tough one for the Aberdeen players on the pitch.
I was looking back at the 3-3 game in November, and behind one goal where the Hibs fans are, there's a huge sack the board banner. Now, the success that David Gray has had since that night, that amazing sliding doors night, the success has changed the complexion of the club completely. No more sack the board. The chief exec is gone, and the fans were quite happy to see Ben Kensell go. Everything's calm. Team in the park winning. As the Dazzler said, win today over Motherwell into 5th place. Now at Aberdeen, if it's 14 games without a win, everybody from Dave Cormack, the owner, to Jimmy Talleen, the manager, starts to get it in the neck.
Do you know what I think helped David Gray and Hibs? I think they're past the fact that they sacked so many managers, they changed it so quickly. They were getting into a position that people were saying, well, you just can't keep sacking managers. David Gray obviously has that added bonus that he's a hero there. The fans love him for a cup final goal, and it's paid dividends, and you've got to congratulate them on that. And you've got to congratulate David Gray, because as his first job, that's not good, going home every weekend. You take that home with you, you don't know where you're doing the right thing. You've got to believe in yourself, you've got to be strong, you've got to get up on a Monday, you've got to get in there and lift the full club. And he's certainly doing that, and all credit to the guy. He's on a terrific run.
Martin Boyle starting to look lively. He'd have been in the mix, you would imagine, in the conversation. I saw Hamza Egeman got Player of the Month for January, which I think was probably deserved as well. But Martin Boyle must have been in that conversation.
Yep, the performance against Rangers obviously stands out, but plenty more along the way in January that he's really helped Hibs come on. And look, that's always going to happen. If you've got a front man who can consistently score you goals, then obviously you give yourself a better chance of getting up the league. Hibs' problem was always at the back, but they seem to have just tightened up. There are still mistakes there, but they've tightened up, paired with Boyle's goals. That's why they're rocketing up the table.
Hibs go a goal in front and self-expression becomes easier. Aberdeen go a goal behind and self-doubt creeps in. So the goal favours Hibs and gets Aberdeen tentative. They really need to get something before half time, I think.
Yeah, we'll see how that one plays out in the remainder of the first half. If you keep an eye on the English Premier League, you might be interested to know Liverpool are a goal up against Bournemouth. Mo Salah, wonder how his contract negotiations are going, given that what a contribution.
Great to be in his position just now, isn't it?
What a contribution.
I'd have my yacht ordered.
His agent, they're the real winners there.
Yeah.
They don't kick a ball, they don't run about, they just go in and then negotiate the deal and
pick up a few
millions. I mean, for speaking to somebody about somebody else's talent.
Yeah.
Saudi Pro League, if he goes there, I mean, they have enough money to buy the country.
I don't think he'll be short of options, that's for sure. Aberdeen are looking a bit rattled now as well, quite fragile, as the guys have alluded to. That can happen.
I think it's a strip that they're sporting. Have you seen this
Is
strip?
it the black and yellow one today?
Is that had an outing before?
Yeah, I think so.
Those were the club's original colours when they came into being. Yeah,
I did not know that, Hugh.
Like, everybody will mock me for it. I don't think that helps.
What?
I really don't. That's the
wasp kit.
The strip sort of identifies how you are just now. Get something.
But they can't win in the red one either.
It's like a Saturday night. You go out and you really suit it and boot it nice after. You are feeling great. $1 million. You're ready to take anybody on the dancing. You get in that strip with your jeans and a strip
and a Ben Sherman shirt.
You're coming home early with a pizza,
and then or in your case, you're putting your overnight oats on.
Yeah, exactly. Hugh. And I know that people
can't win in red either, though.
I know, but sometimes but that is
change it at half time. The old Fergie one.
I've got to say, the greatest manager in the world, he looked at that and agreed with me and decided.
His claim was the players couldn't see each other.
Grey. That makes sense, though.
Well, have a look at that. I know there's a bit of yellow in it, but my goodness,
so that was the history behind it, Hugh. They came into existence. It was black and yellow.
Those were their colours, yeah.
So why they changed to red?
Because they couldn't win. They couldn't see each other. They didn't feel good. They come home with a pizza.
It says the Wasp kit pays homage to a significant period in the club's history, and the design takes inspiration from the early days when the team was affectionately nicknamed the Wasps due to their distinctive black and gold stripes.
Yep.
That's great knowledge, Hugh. Did you read that this morning?
No.
Did you know that?
It just came back to me. Well, when Fergie was the manager there, the West of Scotland press were obliged to go to Aberdeen so often for league matches and European matches because he won a European trophy that you knew more about Aberdeen than you did about Celtic or Rangers when he was there.
My friend from Bucharest never did get back to me the other day.
Fergie's number.
Get in touch.
Hugh, I told this on the show on Thursday night.
I heard you tell the story. Yeah,
he got to aim high in this game. A journalist from Bucharest who I must have met when Rangers played Bucharest messaged to say, you don't happen to have Sir Alex Ferguson's number,
and
do you?
You were also bang accurate when you said he hasn't returned my calls for 30 years.
So there we go. The hunt goes on. If my Romanian friend is listening,
you fall out with Fergie, it's forever.
Have you got his number? No. I know that he doesn't talk to you, but have you got his number?
No.
I'm shocked at that.
He used to. That's the point.
Yeah, many times
but you don't delete Fergie's number.
No, but they fell out before the days of mobile phones.
Yes.
Right.
Just a landline number.
No, I think it might be
office or something.
It was at Old Trafford one midweek night.
Yeah, there's a phone box just next to me in the corner of the main road.
Fraser Wishart has had to wait 34 minutes for a shot at goal Mandron, it was on target in the end. Mandron from 18 yards straight at Sinclair. Now this is a good one. You can hear it dripping out of Fraser Wishart every week. He doesn't really like VAR, does he?
Come on.
But now he's got a VAR check for a penalty. So you can't have it both ways, Fraser. You're moaning that there's nothing happening in this game. Now you've got a VAR check for the penalty. So we'll need to wait and see. It's for a St Mirren penalty. Play on. Never mind. As you were. Back to
another exciting day.
Back to a very quiet afternoon.
The leadership of Fraser.
I don't think it's his fault.
He'd be better wearing that strip going out tonight. He's coming home with a pizza, no friends.
That seemed like an unnecessary attack on Fraser Wishart.
The Penguins down the road. The big Jacob.
It seemed very unnecessary.
I didn't have a good game at Paisley today. I'll have a pizza crunch.
You're invited. It won't be in the post.
I'll never get invited back. I'm and Roger have binned me.
Well, quite right. I wouldn't invite you back because was it last year you binned off the PFA dinner for Take That?
Yeah.
Was that the year before?
That's right, so he did.
What did I bin Roger off for? I know I binned him.
But you went to see Gary Barlow and co instead, didn't you?
Well, I'm quite busy this weather, Gordon. You know what I mean? People want my company, yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right, remind us of your teaser, please, Hugh.
Okay, the Six Nations kicks off this weekend. Scotland playing Italy and winning at the minute. Can you name me 6 nations that the Scotland men's football team have played more than once and have a 100% win rate against?
There we go. So we're looking. This is a bit different. There are more than 6 to choose from. We just want 6. So give us your suggestions. I can see. Do you know what?
Somebody got that, Gordon?
Yeah, most people are
getting it.
Or there or thereabouts.
Mark and I have got our teeth right in it. We have none.
There is one team on this list we've played 9 times and never lost to.
I could guess who it is.
Go for it.
Right, okay. Or
hurry up. This is radio. You just saying or and writing things
one
down.
1 and 2.
It is neither of those 2.
Yeah. Who did you put there?
However, they are both on the list.
Are they? All right,
but
okay.
They're not the 9 time.
I'm happy with that.
Peter, I think, has tried to remove that period from his mind when we played Israel about 50 times in 3 seasons, because he says Israel, but no, they did. They took some results off us, didn't they, Hugh?
Yeah, they're not there.
Bulgaria there?
Nope.
Romania there?
Nope.
Faroe Islands there?
Oh no! Just put the Faroes.
Listen, will you ever forget Bertie Votes on the Faroe Islands 2-2?
Sure it was.
I've been to the Faroe Islands. I went with Scotland in the younger years. Magnificent place.
As one of my journalistic colleagues put it that day on the Faroe Islands, we were 2 down, and he said it's like losing to Dunoon.
I've not been to Dunoon.
Oh, what? Ever?
No.
Oh, Manty used to have a caravan there. Loved it.
Did you?
Aye, every summer.
But you have to get
ferry
a boat,
across.
you get a ferry, don't you?
That's part of the holiday.
Yeah.
You seem like you're on a far-flung adventure.
Never been to Dunoon. Might put that in my bucket list for
love it.
for a summer. That and Malta. I want to go to Malta.
I like Malta.
Dunoon and Malta.
I don't know why. I've got Malta and Hong Kong are my 2.
Malta's good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that on the list?
How did we get around to this again? Oh, the team
wish you were
Is that on the list?
No.
Okay. I just didn't want to give it away.
Inverness 1, Queen of the South 0. Alfie Babbage on 36 minutes. Newcastle 1, Fulham 0 in the English Premier League. Keep the guesses coming. We'll round off that teaser in round about 5 minutes time. Famously or infamously, or whatever word you want to use, Faroe Islands is not one, because they have held us to a draw before. Do you remember any of the names involved that day? It's an interesting
Kevin
Scotland
Kyle.
team. Kevin Kyle, yes. Led the line with
I thought you meant Faroe Islands players.
Is that an obscure one?
Yes.
Stephen Dobie.
What a shout that is from Wilson.
Is it?
Is it not Scott Dobie?
Scott Dobie, sorry. That's
Scott
the Dobie.
Dobie, yeah.
And is that correct?
Bertie gave caps to everyone. Passers by were getting
Steady,
caps.
Hugh. I was playing at that time. I didn't get one, mate.
Still Ferguson and Lambert.
Yeah. Big
Dickov,
midfield.
Weir, Daly, Craney, Ross, Brad Douglas in goal. So there you go.
You got the bench here? Who was on the bench at that? What year was
By the
that?
way,
2002?
You wouldn't go on the bench. You wouldn't embarrass yourself, would you? Seen that start at 11, you're like, I ain't going on the bench, mate. Absolutely no chance.
Oh no, some of these guys were better than you.
I was just making my debut in 2002.
Kevin McNaughton, Lee Wilkie,
Lee Wilkie.
Lee Wilkie. No way. He was
Dundee
playing at Dundee
player,
at that time.
player,
Graham Alexander probably. Just says Alexander.
Yeah.
Aye.
Who else?
Stevie Crawford, your old.
He's a great guy.
Good players too.
Alexander got lots of caps, didn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
After that, I think,
They're a fairly decent player, Graham Alexander.
Good penalty taker.
Yeah.
The Williams that is on the bench, remember his first name?
Williams.
Alex.
You're just going to name every
Serena
name.
He was my Man City goalkeeper, Alex Williams.
Williams.
Not remember.
Williams. Who did he play for?
Nottingham Forest, Leicester.
No.
Stevie or Stewart?
Oh, right, this is just ridiculous. There's no point in you just shouting every male name. It's Gareth Williams.
Don't remember him.
No.
You know what? I remember his face now.
Was he a winger?
I don't know. I wish I hadn't started.
I'm
this
sure he was a
conversation.
midfielder.
You sure?
Aye. Quite long hair on top.
Davy Moyes is doing the business for Everton, isn't he?
Yeah.
2 up against Leicester.
Another set play, Charlie Adam.
Yeah, Charlie Adams,
What
set
about
piece
that?
coach.
No, set play coach.
I like that one.
Don't you make it that?
That's what you call in you come, Charlie.
See, in
what
fairness-
do you want to be called?
What were you good at? What balls in?
Oh, you had a good free kick, I remember. Right, that's it there.
What would you know about Charlie Adams' set piece coaching?
I don't know anything about his coaching.
He might
could
be an
genius.
absolute mastermind at it.
I would find that very surprising.
Why?
There you go. And it was Ross McCormack told me the reason why he
Big
was
McCormack.
Ross
McCormack, yes,
Is he?
McCormack last week told me the reason why he's become the
Don't you
set
throw
play
someone
coach.
else under
Oh,
the-
he's getting. By the way, I didn't like the other day Aston Villa Celtic. The corner kick to Villa. Camera just goes to Austin McPhee, and he's out. He's out taking control. You've already told the players your job. If that's your job, don't take
See, the thing
centre
is,
stage.
I am somewhere in the middle because it's easy to be cynical about this stuff, but if the world's best teams are doing it, that's kind of the way.
Fine if they're
goes.
doing it, but don't say to the manager, I'm in charge of this bit now. See, if I was Emery, you'd be saying, have a seat, mate, you've done your bit.
Just to put it in the mixer in your day.
Correct.
So you would just say, get it in the mixer.
Get it in there.
You used to just got
No,
charged
I
to the
always,
box.
see, when I was a manager, I always had set plays, corner kicks, 3 throw-ins and free kicks, 3 alternate ones. The minute they were gone, we didn't score. I left it up to my assistant.
I bet you your corner was hit the man just at the front post
Flick
area.
it on.
By the way,
Flick it on, or one, run the back.
let's not be disrespectful there, because Liverpool were brilliant at it under Carrie McAllister. Remember, he used to flick.
Carrie, what's up with you? You
I think my teeth have fell out, right, and I'm trying to get them back in while I'm still speaking. Gary McAllister, Hugh, he's all any of yours.
So many oats are stuck in your mouth.
I'll tell you what it is. It's his facial reconstruction that he's had done.
I can't. My Botox is making it very difficult.
I never thought I'd hear the day.
Your
In
face
the
is
office,
looking a bit more
in the
lifted
office,
now, I
he
would
says,
say.
I'm right into Botox
I'm
now.
telling you now, it's a way forward for me.
I never thought I heard one of us in the studio say that.
I was going to get wee Fraser involved in it, but that's an iron. We would need
Examine the evidence here. Botox, overnight oats, Buddhism. I'm telling you, 2 weeks from now, he'll have seen spacemen at Motherwell Cross.
And it can't be a midlife crisis because he's past that
Yeah,
20
well
years
past
ago.
it.
It's
Yeah,
some
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of
It's a
crisis.
healthy lifestyle,
He's
Gordon.
inventing some
do you know
different
something?
Firing Botox into your
What
chops.
I don't like about you should be encouraging and helping. Do you know what I mean? I could easily go and windle away like you, right? But I'm trying to do something about myself.
If you're still here at his age,
have no chance.
I'll be
He looks
amazed.
brilliant for his age.
I will be amazed. Hearts are well in control. Dundee are offering very little threat, so it looks like a comfortable first half. A big team talk for Tony Dock, but they've showed they've got a bit about them in recent
Well, you go
weeks
back
and months.
to Dundee 3, Celtic 3. That's what they have about them. But it's almost as if that game was the high watermark. Never been quite the same since then.
That's been the problem for Dundee and Tony Dock though this season. You never actually know what you're going to get. Start of the season, okay. Went off a boil, then Hugh's right to highlight the Celtic game. They look like a real team, but 2 down today. Whether last season, he really just went through 1 week to the next picking up positive results. So a bit of inconsistency is costing him.
Let's round this off, Hugh, whilst we can.
The first half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I asked you to tell me the Six Nations that Scotland have played more than once and have a 100% win rate against. There are actually 10, but if you had 6 from the following, you're a winner. Albania, Armenia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Chile, Cyprus, Gibraltar, Iceland, Latvia, Liechtenstein and San Marino.
Well done, you only needed 6, so congratulations to those of you who did it. In third place was Charlie Bayer, second Matondo, and first place Michael Donati. Well done to you, the gold medalist, the winner of the first half teaser. And we'll have a Who Am I as always in the second half. Mark Wilson, your employers have not ended the half well. Partick Thistle 0, Morton 1. And are we seeing an Airdrie resurgence? They finally got a league win again last week against Dunfermline. They've just scored in the stroke of half time to take a 1-0 lead at home to Queen's Park thanks to Ben Wilson, at the same time as Morton scored to take the lead at Firhill. The locals will not like that, Mark Wilson.
No, certainly will not. Last week, such an important game against Ayr. I think it was the level of performance that it was so disappointing. But your home games are crucial in this league, and just starting to lose ground on those top teams.
He's got to be careful. Partick have got high ambitions in that league, and it's not going too well. He's got a second half to turn it around, or I think the Partick Thistle manager comes under a bit of pressure here.
Funny the way the fixtures have failed this year, and it was the same with Dundee a couple of weeks ago. Thistle just played Morton a couple of weeks ago, remember, in that Hogmanay game. The games come round, they're so similar. Oh, your old side ahead, Barry Robson, by the way,
doing alright now.
He's got the bounce going.
It's a derby, isn't it?
It is. Dunfermline Wraith Rovers. Not a good start in that one for Michael Tidzert. Lost last weekend, and a goal down. Dylan Easton's penalty in 43 minutes separating the side. So the championship has come to life just before half time. If the rugby is your thing, Scotland lead Italy by 31-19 at Murrayfield.
It's a lot of goals, isn't it?
One of them must have scored a hat-trick.
That is a lot of goals. My God.
Down at the bottom there, for Rhys McCabe at Airdrie, started the day 10 points behind Dunfermline, but now we're in a situation where Dunfermline are losing 1-0, Airdrie are winning 1-0, and if that were to remain the case, it's 7 points, and all of a sudden it doesn't look a hopeless case anymore.
A chance for Dundee. It's a header. It's a bit of a weak effort from him. Not like him, because he got on the end of a cross. He was right in front of goal but couldn't get the purchase, and Dundee really needed it. Would make some difference to go in at the break with at least one goal back. We should have known our featured championship game would finish first, and it has. Roger Hannah's watched Hamilton Accies against Ayr.
Yes, Hamilton 0, Ayr United 0 at the break, and the Honest Men not looking like a team likely to go top of the championship table tonight. They have huffed and puffed in this first half at Hamilton. They should have been ahead from the penalty spot, but Jay Henderson missed the best chance of the half. It was quite an even start. Ayr almost took lead in 12 minutes. Right wing back Dylan Walker up from the back, nice shot deflected wide of Dean Linus's left hand post. Then a couple of minutes later, the big chance for Ayr. Progress down the right hand side by Conor McLennan. He fired the ball into the box. It was handled by the Accies defender Stephen Hendry. Referee Matthew McDermott pointed straight to the spot, and Henderson 13 goal involvements in the championship so far this season, but number 14 did not arrive. It was a weak penalty and well saved down to his left by goalkeeper Linus. One of 6 players recalled to the starting lineup by Jordan Rankin after that midweek defeat to Wraith Rovers. Accies took a while to get into the game as an attacking force. They did threaten in 32 minutes. Kevin O'Hara with an angled shot that was well pushed out by the Ayr goalkeeper Harry Stone. Accies also finishing the half on the front foot. Scott Brown will demand much more from Ayr in the second half. At the break, it's Hamilton Accies 0, Ayr United 0.
Need a goal there, we have to say. Need a goal for Roger Hannah, still playing in our Premiership offerings. The game of the day in terms of the story attached to it, Hibs Aberdeen. But for first half entertainment, maybe Dave Galloway has more for us from Dens. We'll find out in the next few minutes. We've got a couple actually. What about David Friel, who's watched the big one between Hibs and Aberdeen?
Half time, Gordon, Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0. Not been a great game, more of the same for struggling Aberdeen. Hibs in control at the break with that one goal. It came from Nectar Triantis' simple header that gave them a 1-0 lead. They probably deserved it, they probably feel they would. Aberdeen haven't been terrible, they haven't been great, they just don't really look convincing all over the pitch. And I think Jimmy Tilley is a big half time team talk ahead of him. As they stand on the brink of going 14 Premiership games without a win. Aberdeen actually started okay. Leighton Clarkson had the first chance of the game, a low shot that was saved by Jordan Smith. They have had some pressure and spells, like Topi Keskinen have been busy, but there's a real lack of end product. We spoke about before the game, they just don't have that focal point in attack. And I'm sure Jimmy Tilley will be looking to his bench already. Hibs haven't really been in full flow either for the whole half, but they did do enough to get that goal in 24 minutes. Came after a really good move down the right, ended with Nicky Cadden's shot being deflected over. And the resulting corner, Martin Boyle, it was so simple, he just swung it over to the back post, picked out the unmarked Josh Campbell, he headed back across goal. Nectar Triantis, standing all alone, just headed into the bottom corner. There hasn't been much action apart from that, but it's Aberdeen who need to come up with something after the break. Half time, Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0.
What about Fraser Wishart then, the Battle of the Saints in Paisley?
You say battle, Gordon. It was pretty poor fare here at St Mirren. St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 0 at half time. The ref's half time whistle was really a relief for everybody. He's put the first half behind us. Players can regroup and hopefully we'll get better in the second. There'll be a pretty short report of virtually nothing has happened. Both teams really passive. There's hardly even a foul, no flashpoint, not even a shot at goal in the first 30-35 minutes. I think it's been played at a tempo of a training game. The players take the safety option, rather than making something happen. Some have had the better of it, if anything. Most of the games in the St Johnstone half, Zach Hemming a virtual spectator, but St Johnstone been well organised at the back. They've kept the ball well, played some nice football, but inside their own half, and strangely they've had more possession than St Mirren, despite the fact they've not had one touch in St Mirren's box. The little action there was, Killian Phillips had done better at the back post with a header across goal. Ross Sinclair grabbed it easily. There was a few St Mirren players he could have hit. 32 minutes of first relay effort at goal. Mikael Mandron showed really good strength, held up a couple of challenges, got to the edge of the box. His left foot shot though was tame and straight at Sinclair. And then just before the break, Mark O'Hara tried his luck from 25 yards, didn't really get a hold of it, and it bobbled straight at Sinclair, and that was it. But as a glass half full person, one positive is the second half can't possibly be as poor as the first. At least that's why I hope. Half time at the Spider Stadium, St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 0.
He's a ray of sunshine with that match report, Fraser Wishart. What about Dave Galloway at Dens?
Half time, Dundee 0, Hearts 2, Gordon. The visitors well in command, and Shankland back with a bang. Hearts the first to threaten. Penrice crossed for Shankland, whose header was well saved by Carson. At the other end, Murray created space for himself 20 yards out, but shot straight at Gordon. Hearts went ahead in the 15th minute. Shankland controlled the ball with his right foot, swivelled and scored with a terrific left-footed drive into the bottom corner. And after 17 minutes, it was 2-0. A deflected cross, Spittle controlled the ball with his chest and lashed a superb volley from the edge of the box into the top corner of the net. Nielsen almost made it 3. His flick kept out at full stretch by Carson, who also made an impressive save to beat away Kabangu's well-struck effort after a nice build-up. Dundee offering very little threat in the first half, but Murray, as the interval approached, passed up a really good chance right in front of goal, heading weakly at Gordon from Mulligan's cross. At half-time, Dundee 0, Hearts 2.
And we'll do a full roundup of the half-time scores next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time scores in the Scottish Premiership. It is Dundee 0, Hearts 2, Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 0. And don't forget, we have a 5:45 kick-off between Kilmarnock and Dundee United, so that is still to come at Rugby Park a bit later on today. In the Championship, at the break, it's Airdrie 1, Queen's Park 0, Dunfermline 0, Wraith Rovers 1, Hamilton Accies 0, Ayr United 0, and Partick Thistle 0, Morton 1. In League 1, it's Cove 0, Arbroath 1, Dumbarton 1, Alloa 0, Inverness 1, Queen of the South 0, Kelty Hearts 1, Annan Athletic 0, and Montrose 0, Stenhousemuir 1. In League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 2, Clyde 0, Edinburgh City 2, Stirling Albion 1, Elgin City 1, East Fife 0, Peterhead 2, Forfar 0, and Stranraer 1, Spartans 0. And the English Premier League to finish us off then at the full-time score on this one: Nottingham Forest 7, Brighton 0. At the break, it's Bournemouth 0, Liverpool 1, Everton 3, Leicester 0, Ipswich 1, Southampton 1, and Newcastle 1, Fulham 0. We will be back with the second halves next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Luker's Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes Acca gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your Acca. It's a gaffer of an Acca from Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 of boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
The way you eat a cream egg says everything about you. If you eat yours in small nibbles, that means you're real deep. You can sense when someone's about to text you. Huh. Your dreams mean stuff. You keep all your birthday cards in a little box. And you happy cry at anything heartwarming. Search Cream Egg Test to find out who you really are. Cadbury Cream Egg. How do you eat yours?
There's cars and SUVs. Then there's vans and pickups. Looking for expert advice on your next vehicle? Our Toyota and Lexus business team are here to help. Whether it's electric, hybrid, petrol, diesel or hydrogen vehicles, our dedicated team offers comprehensive consultancy for large and small fleets. With our award-winning reliability, recognised by the What Car Awards, we keep your vehicles on the road and your business running smoothly. Search Toyota and Lexus Business to learn more. Lexus, awarded Best for Reliability in the 2023 What Car Awards.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes Acca gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your Acca. It's a gaffer of an Acca from Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 of boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Still half-time at most of our venues, but we will be getting underway soon. Let's go back to Easter Road. David Friel, and just to go back on what we heard you witness in the first half, a real sense of fragility from Aberdeen once they go a goal behind.
Yeah, it was just kind of basic mistakes started kind of creeping in. Balls going straight out of play and slack pass. And as I said, I don't think they've been terrible today. And it was kind of interesting. I kind of eyeing the fans at half time just to see what the reaction would be. And it wasn't completely negative, Gordon, I must admit. Obviously the fans aren't happy, but I don't think that they, put it this way, I think the band of fans are trying to still get behind this team just now. I think they know there's not that much in the game. They've not been great going forward, but it's probably a game that they can get back into. So they've certainly not turned on their team, but in terms of a unit, Aberdeen do look fragile, and as we touched on at the top of the show, they just, the front three or the front four really need to do more. I just think they're so blunt in attack, but you also do need to give Hibs credit in this sense. I think Warner Hora, Jack Iredale and especially Rocky Bashiri have been absolutely outstanding at the back.
I think it's fascinating, David, how results will dictate everything, even the way people think, because at the start of the season Jimmy Tilleen would quite often make 2 changes at the break, 3 changes at the break, quick changes, use all his subs, and people said, this is great, look at this guy, he finds solutions, he adapts, he tries to fix things, he's not scared to mix things up. But now on reflection, you wonder if it was a guy that couldn't get his team right to begin with. Do you know what I mean? When you're winning games, that stuff's all great, but then when you stop losing, you can maybe spin it a completely opposite direction.
Yeah, exactly. Are you brave and bold, or are you just making up for your earlier mistakes? Yeah, I'm just looking at the Aberdeen team coming out. I don't think he's made any immediate changes, but I don't imagine it'll take too long if they don't really up their game. Gordon, I mean, you look at the bench, guys like Duke, Kevin Nisbet, Shayden Morris is always coming off the bench and probably better off the bench than he is starting. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Jimmy Tilleen is still searching for the right formula, especially in attack. But can Aberdeen really afford to go 14 games without a win? It's a huge 45 minutes for me in the context of this season.
There's cars and SUVs. Then there's vans and pickups. Looking for expert advice on your next vehicle? Our Toyota and Lexus business team are here to help. Whether it's electric, hybrid, petrol, diesel or hydrogen vehicles, our dedicated team offers comprehensive consultancy for large and small fleets. With our award-winning reliability, recognised by the What Car Awards, we keep your vehicles on the road and your business running smoothly. Search Toyota and Lexus Business to learn more. Lexus, awarded Best for Reliability in the 2023 What Car Awards.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes Acca gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your Acca. It's a gaffer of an Acca from Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 of boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
Join me, Gemma Atkinson, for Series 2 of my podcast, The Overshare.
You know, you only get one life to live, and who wants to waste it all just being at home sad, miserable and lonely when there's so many other people out there that you can enjoy it with.
Join me and my guests as we overshare about the jaw-dropping, shocking, hilariously funny and tear-jerking times.
So then I went a little bit FBI, started doing a bit of internet stalking, and I found out that he was married the whole time.
Real-life stories from real people. Listen now on the Rayo app.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get your essential medicines and vaccines before you head off on holiday.
Well, Gordon Dale, you fancied this to be the day that Aberdeen got back to winning ways. Do you still feel as confident?
They'll need a big improvement in the second half. They'll need a big second half. They'll need things to go for them. Hibs at home, I know everybody's talking about the informed team. 1-0 up, they'll fancy this afternoon to pick up all 3 points, but Aberdeen need a quick response. Let's see if the manager's half-time team talk has any positivity on their second half.
If I had said that, the next thing they've heard was a Hibs goal.
Guaranteed.
They've got a strong bench, and that comes with having a strong squad. But David's right, you know, the front four have to do much better. Was it you mentioned to me, Gordon, at the start of the season that expected goals was really low and they were outscoring that? Yeah, and that's just caught them.
People always said throughout that run that they would, what's the phrase to make this sound really hipster, regress to the mean.
Oh wow! Right, okay, yeah, I can understand.
Basically, they were outperforming themselves at the start of the season. They were always going to dip. They were always going to come back to a more normal level. However, this has obviously been then extreme. This has been nosedive. This has gone in a completely different direction and has stayed that way for quite some time. But yeah, the numbers suggested that they couldn't keep that up basically at the start of the season.
And people quite often just look at the individuals at the top end of the pitch and forget it's the full structure of the team and how you get your full team up the pitch rather than just relying on a front man to
I sort of summed it up with one of my sayings last week. They started off in the season, they were like dancing in the rain, now they're crying in the storm.
What has honestly gotten into this guy's head? I can't do this every week for the rest of the season.
Yes. You like that, don't you? But it sums Aberdeen up.
He'll be late for tomorrow's programme because he'll be lying in a darkened room.
That sums you up, never mind Aberdeen season. For the 1st of January.
But all of a sudden though, you know, Hibs will be 2 points away from Aberdeen if they hold on to this and win, and St Mirren, if they beat St Johnstone, will be 2 points away from Aberdeen. All of a sudden it's concertina time, and if Celtic beat Motherwell tomorrow, Celtic will go 28 points away from Aberdeen when they drew 3-3 with Hibs at Easter Road in November and were 2 points behind Celtic. Tomorrow they could be 28.
It's incredible, it really is. What a turnaround. But we've said all this before because it's just a story that was set in motion weeks ago and it's just continuing. It's just getting worse, but they still have the chance to do something about it today. They are only 1 goal down. They've still got the entirety pretty much of the second half. And again, to go back to what I said though about once you're in this rut, if you go Easter Road and draw a game, that's fine, that's a good result, that's okay, but then the stat doesn't get any better.
No,
the stat stays there.
Yeah, no wins in 14. That's the way of our world.
There has been a goal at Easter Road. Which way though?
Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hibs 2, Aberdeen 0. Nicky Cadden's header is now being checked for offside.
Be careful. If it does go to,
if
Gordon,
it stands, you would imagine curtains. But that 3-3 draw between the sides should teach you to expect the unexpected. I don't know if Aberdeen have still got that type of drama in them, but we're just checking, because Jimmy Talleen will be keeping everything crossed that this is offside. Nicky Cadden, of course, he's got the old Mask of Zorro effort on, protecting him from that facial injury that he picked up previously.
Jimmy Talleen with the mask.
Yeah, I said there just before Hibs scored that let's see the reaction that Aberdeen get from the manager's half-time team talk. But all credit to David Gray, he's had the most positive one. If this stands,
if it stands, Dumbarton 1, Alloa 1. Josh Gentles with the equaliser. So it was a sort of bouncing cross and headed in off the underside of the bar from Nicky Cadden. And we've not got an outcome yet. These ones can be tricky, and of course you want to get it right. He just sneaked in at the back post, so still waiting. And I know it's frustrating for everyone. We are as frustrated, but of course they then have to make sure the lines are on and everything's lined up. And then sometimes, depending what's happened, you check the attacking phase of play and so on, and make sure there were no other rule breaches in the build-up. But Kevin Clancy's on VAR, so him and his assistant VAR will be going through the motions just now, trying to figure out. And I think there's probably an issue. I think what we're hearing is an issue with someone in front of Nicky Cadden rather than him. He is onside. Someone tries to header the ball before. So this is a difficult one, because
what happens here gone the rules?
So in theory, if I've picked it up right, the referee will probably go over to the monitor if he's asked. So this won't be your usual factual offside. It would be, oh, hold on, it stands.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Easter Road erupts. So I've seen it said that it spoils it for fans, and sometimes it does, but sometimes you get the chance to celebrate a second time, and that's what they've done. Easter Road's going mad, and Aberdeen are 2-0 down and staring down the barrel yet again.
Big trouble. There's no way around it. If you go 14 games, no wins, if there are Hibs are 2 points away from Aberdeen, it's all gone horribly
How many
wrong.
points has he picked up in the 14 games?
Well, that's the thing, it's not many. It's not like they've drawn 10 of them.
I think it's 4
points, right? It's incredible, isn't it? 4 points out of possible 42, and no matter the results, they're still sitting fourth.
But to go back to him on a personal level, Dave Cormack, Alan Burrows, they have to take cognizance of the fact that this is a horror run, and they have to ask, is he the right man?
Well, they play next week Scottish Cup in Fairland, and then I think they're away to Dundee, another away game. Look, it's 2-0. 2-0's one of those leads that you go right.
Call it a dangerous scoreline. Go on.
Yeah, okay. Well, I like to say in the game a dangerous scoreline, but I don't think Aberdeen have got the character to pull themselves back into this game. I really don't.
Yep, that's a good shout. Character is a big word. It was good. It was fine when everything was going good for them this season and everybody wanted to evolve. But those games that have went against them, or the scoreline's gone against them, I don't see many people dragging people across the line to get back in it.
Also, consider it from this perspective, Mark. This now takes Hibs above Motherwell. Motherwell, who've had a difficult week, starting on Monday when the manager decided to quit. Tomorrow, Celtic at Fir Park. It's another layer on the Motherwell story.
And it's what loads of Motherwell fans, to be fair, have been shouting from the rooftops all week. You can still have your thoughts on whether Stuart Kettlewell should have been under footballing pressure. I'm not talking about, the stuff that was alleged to have been shouted at him, which his family didn't like. I don't mean that, but from the outside, everybody kept saying, you're fifth, what more do you want? Every single Motherwell fan knew that by tonight they wouldn't be fifth, and with the best will in the world, they won't beat Celtic tomorrow either. And then that situation's going to get worse. So the whole argument that we kept hearing all week, you're fifth, was only going to hold until today. So I think that's where the Motherwell fans have been a bit frustrated. It's not always been quite as simple as that. We've got another goal though.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hearts have scored again, and that new January signing, he really knows his way to goal. Elton Kabangu has scored again as well. He got one again Kilmarnock in his first league start last week. He got a couple against Brecon in the cup before that, and he has scored again. 3-0 to the Jambos. Is that one done?
Oh yeah, without doubt. All of a sudden the capital city is looking good again. Once Hibs were bottom and Hearts were second bottom, and now both of them are motoring. And I said to you about Critchley, the signings have been good as well. Elton Kabangu, excellent signing, clearly an eye for goal. And those who were already there, James Penrice, for me, one of the best players in the league. All of a sudden it's all positive, and for Tony Docherty, it's just a disaster.
They had that look about them, Hearts, didn't they? They just needed freshened up. They needed one or two players to come in, give them something different, give them the spark, because everyone every week kept saying, oh, they've got good players, good squad, and they certainly did. Those changes have been brilliant for them. We said that they will certainly climb the league, but Dundee, I think Mark said it earlier, you never know. Dundee's a bit like Ross County for me just now. You never know what's coming out of them. You really don't. But
well, as we said there, you're looking for that impact. So that's Kabangu's third start, and it's his fourth goal.
Yeah.
Even last week, I know that's not what he's there for, but Jamie McCart, it was his first league start. He scored as well, coming up for a set piece. So can't ask much more than your January signings to go and have an impact.
Absolutely first class. And these results all have consequences. You know, Hibs Aberdeen 2 down, there'll be consequences. If Dundee lose to Hearts, Hearts go above Dundee, and if Kilmarnock should beat Dundee United, they go above Dundee as well. And all of a sudden Tony Dock finds himself down in the troubled area.
Excuse me, can I ask a question here? I'm very sorry if I've missed this.
No, we've not done it yet.
Have you done a half-time teaser?
We have not. Second half teaser.
Second half.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played in England, Spain, Germany and Scotland. I've been managed by Fabio Capello and Walter Smith, and I've been teammates with Davy Weir and Tony Yeboah. Who am I? Played in England, Spain, Germany, Scotland, managed by Fabio Capello and Walter Smith, teammates with Davy Weir and Tony Yeboah. Who am I?
I think you'll get it. I think it's very gentle this afternoon, because I know how good you all are at these. So give us a shout at Clyde SSB. You have to do it quicker than everyone else, so get going if you can. Airdrie 1, Queen's Park 1. Joshua Scott on 59 minutes.
Who are you going for?
You not got it yet, Gordon DL? Not like you.
No, I'm trying to work that one out. And I'm trying to work in the extra clue I heard off here.
Bit of bother for potential bother for Partick Thistle. Queen's Park drawing now with Airdrie. Queen's Park can move too close for comfort to Partick Thistle if they get a win today.
Yep, Partick Thistle still losing at home to Morton. So we'll keep an eye there, because I suspect we might even hear from Partick Thistle fans on the phone after the game if that doesn't go to plan. Must be pretty frustrated if that does end that way. We can look ahead to tomorrow. We can look back on some of the week's biggest talking points, like Europe and transfers. It is deadline day on Monday, the 3rd of February, and it seems a bit late, but just the way that it's fallen. And it'll be interesting to see what business gets done. Mark Wilson, particularly Celtic, because they've lost Kyogo.
No, you just can't come
Alex
out a window in a weaker position. And let's be honest, that's where Celtic are. We all know that they'll go on and win the league, the Champions League. No matter who they add, it might not make any difference anyway. But in terms of the bigger picture, you still want a strong squad. So you lose Kyogo, you lose Vi, even Stephen Welsh is away from the centre back as a backup option.
Lagerbielke.
So you've lost players without replacing them. But Kyogo's a big one. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a striker. I'm not so convinced there'll be a left back in.
Seriously? You can't go for one left back, surely.
Well, you've got Scales and you've got Montgomery.
That's like saying you've got Maeda though to play up front.
But I'm trying to think, where are you really going to need two left backs? Can you get away with Scales? Yes. Bear in mind, I wouldn't be saying this if Tierney wasn't coming this summer.
Do you think you can, for the way...
I think there's a lot of games.
Yeah, and the way that Brendan Rodgers likes to play.
Yeah.
So specifically, does he strike you as a guy that would semi-regularly put Liam Scales there?
I wouldn't surprise me, if I'm being honest. I just don't think he would be desperate. But David, by the way, he's a man in the know. He knows everything, doesn't he? He did highlight. No, he's the man that breaks the stories. He did say a left back and a striker by Monday. A striker, certainly. You need someone in to help out Ida. A different option from Ida or Maeda.
You go back to the word optics. Here are Celtic with tens of millions of pounds in the bank, and the squad is right now, Saturday afternoon, clearly weaker than the one that Brendan Rodgers had when trading began at the start of January. So to emerge from the transfer window weaker than you went into it doesn't look good.
Well, particularly if you sell your star striker.
Yeah.
You know, because the move it's one of those where people have said, you know, he's 30 and it probably makes sense and he doesn't want to be there, and it's 10 million. That is only good business, surely, if someone else comes in. Otherwise it's dreadful business. No?
Look, I'll be astonished, because I think everybody hears, and we're not privileged to what goes on inside Celtic Park, but everybody hears that Kyogo was looking to get out a few months ago, right? And if you're Celtic, and the way Celtic about the transfer business is usually brilliant, so surely they've got someone lined up for that scenario. I've got to say, all credit to him. He came in for a lot of stick. Ida, big chance the other night there. Certainly did take it. 2 good goals. He could kick on from that. He's got goals in him. People just judge too early. They went with Dessers as well. Have a look at him just now. I thought he was sensational the other night. I really did.
Is it not logical to ask, though, if you knew by the manager's own admission that Kyogo months ago wanted out of the club, why are Celtic 72 hours away from the closure of the window and don't have someone in?
That's a great point, Hugh, and I can't answer that point. I totally understand what you're saying, but
as less as we've been speculating through the week, if for whatever reason, if the right guy's not there, and rather than forcing something, maybe Jota plays all the games off the left, Kuhn plays them off the right, and Maeda,
that's okay.
And Ida,
that's okay if they're fit every single week. And I get back to the argument, and I totally agree with what Mark's saying. See, if you could guarantee Taylor and Scales has got to be fit, then I don't think there's a massive panic. I think Celtic could get away with it. Have a look at the amount of games that they've got to play. They've got a lot of games ahead of them, a big schedule. They're still in Europe, Scottish Cup, the league, obviously. The amount of games they're playing week in, week out, all of a sudden that could take its toll, and you do not want to leave yourself short.
They have managed, Mark, to move out players as well. Burnaby, 5.5 million, might be the best piece of business of all time. And Luis Palma has gone. I noticed 16 minutes between his announcement for leaving and the announcement that Jota's the new number 7. Poor guy still zipping up his suitcase. Jota's walking by with his shirt on.
Stevie the kit man had the print machine heated up before Palmer was at the door.
Mind you, against Louis Palmer's name it will say flattered to deceive. I mean,
that's exactly what it was.
But when he came on the scene at first, everybody liked him.
But you know why? Because his numbers were good, his assists and his goals were good. It was only when you took a bigger look at what he did in games that you thought, doesn't he run very much? Doesn't he really go by anybody? Often goes for the difficult option that must be so frustrating. And I think when in modern day football, on a Brendan Rodgers side, or even Ange Postecoglou, if he was still here, if you're not willing to put in the yards and run back and help out your teammates, do all the dirty side, you won't play at that level, and he certainly was one of them. So he'll find his place somewhere else, just not on a Celtic.
On the other side of the coin, how far out the picture is Mike Nawrocki when Dean Murray comes on at Villa Park in the Champions League, not having played a game for Celtic for 3.5 years, and you are put on in preference to Mike Nawrocki? If Celtic can get him out the door between now and 11 o'clock on Monday night, they must be keen to do so.
An important equaliser for Partick Thistle. They're level at home to Morton.
Good time
Charlie
to score.
Mulgrew Revolution's not looking great. Kelty 1 and 2.
Book Charlie in for Tuesday.
And a good sequence of goals that for Partick Thistle fans, because Queen's Park have fallen behind again, so they won't gain any ground on you as things stand. The Ben Wilson penalty makes it Airdrie 2, Queen's Park 1. This is listen, with no disrespect to small time business involving millions of pounds, clearly the biggest deal of the day, Gordon Dalziel, because transfer guru Fabrizio Romano only tweets about the big teams.
Yeah, okay.
I heard about this morning, and he's on Twitter saying that Man City have agreed a loan move for talented 20-year-old striker Will Dixon to join Motherwell.
Oh, that is. What position's Will Dixon?
I said striker, did I not?
Did you?
Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies, I didn't pick you up on that.
Will
Well,
Dixon.
Will comes with that. He's scoring boots on. Can he play tomorrow? Is
By
he
the
right
way,
in?
there must be a relationship in the background somewhere there. I'm sure your youth team went in to play Man City not so
There
long
you go.
ago.
Maybe they found him down there.
Maybe he was playing in that game.
Anyway, Will Dixon, apparently.
Yeah, welcome to Fir Park, Will.
It's a very
There's only one Will in our life. Will from Germany.
Oh, Will the engineer from Germany.
Will the engineer.
By the way, now that we know that it is Munich for Celtic,
By the
should
way,
we fancy it?
it's only one man. Us three.
Want to go back?
Plus Will. What a time we'll have.
Will was brilliant, wasn't he?
Aye. He could wire that full stadium now. Allianz Arena in a winner.
Because you
no
were still
problem.
in quite good form in Munich. You were fine at that point.
I was okay up until I got on that train to go to Cologne.
That's when the full trip took a bit of a downward spiral.
That's where it
Last
all
time
ended.
we mixed beer, prosecco and wine and the one glass.
Responsibly.
That's where it all went wrong.
Is that when the breakdown in your relationship with Mark Wilson occurred?
Just a little speed bump, Hugh, in the road. But we were right back at it the next day.
That was when he tripped the electrics in the hotel. They got moved room, and he walked down the corridor and all his clothes fell out his suitcase.
Yeah, because I was listening to your evening dispatches and doing Jaws Bowie's programme in the morning when you were in Germany, and I thought, something's happened here.
I died. That's the reason why now I'm probably a non-drinker. I died for 2 days.
I
died for 2 days.
Scott and Kilty on for St Mirren, O'Hara and Mandron off, so really 3 up now for St Mirren. It took until the hour mark for St Johnston to get their first effort at goal.
That's the forgotten game of the day. I mean, there's just nothing happening there really. A surprise, given the players up front for St Mirren, that there's just nothing at all.
Yeah, well, St Johnston left it late last week to get the victory, turn it around after being behind against Motherwell, so we'll see what they can come up with in the closing stages.
If he has another smash and grab, Simo Valakari, then
we'll be getting carried about the pub again. The King James.
Yeah, he was getting paraded around last weekend,
King
wasn't he?
James. Who was King James?
One league win.
Perth.
And he's up on
he
the
get carried
shoulders.
round the pub. He went into the pub and they carried him round the pub. And it was a King James pub.
We don't see enough of that for managers.
Who owns the pub? There you go.
Who owns the pub?
I'll
King
take
James
you out
pub.
for a meal if you tell me. King James, think about it.
What do you
St
mean?
Johnston.
Who owns
the pub that he was in? Is called the King James. Boys.
In Perth.
No, he went
The
down
King
to,
James, it's going to be
Stirling.
So like someone that used to play with
Oh, well
St
done,
Johnston.
Gordy.
Is that what you
Billy
mean though?
Kirkwood. No.
No, alright.
King James Billy. Hello, Kirkwood. Did you say Billy Kirkwood?
Sorry,
So like a James.
James.
Is there a former James?
Well done. Go.
James, that's what I was trying to think.
Shorten James.
Jim Weir.
Well done,
There
Gordon.
you go.
Jim Weir.
It's amazing
Jim Weir.
what you can Google standing this side of the screen.
did
isn't
you
it?
Google that?
No, I did not. Partick Thistle 1, Morton 2. Philip Stuparevic on loan from Motherwell has scored for Morton. 69 minutes on the clock, and it's turned again for the Jags.
I'm going to say, and I hate saying it, he will be lucky if he's in the dugout next week for me.
Mark Wilson is employed by this club.
Yes,
You realise that? He's just
I
going to
know.
stand quietly.
I
Go on then,
can't
what's your
say
theory?
much.
Oh, done. What's your thoughts?
No comment.
I think he's come under a lot of pressure from
Seriously?
yeah. I think he will be lucky if he loses today. I think he comes under so much pressure that he could struggle for next week. And I
shout
hate
from
saying
you.
that about managers, because I was one myself and I used to listen to his show and call people what for. Because they used to say, "Oh, DL will be getting sacked by air," blah blah blah. Little did
We
they
just
know.
used to talk about the big teams.
Yeah, no. Little did they know.
I would have loved to have been on this show if you were a manager losing every week.
Mate,
I would have loved it.
Hold on.
Well, you had it with me with Brecon.
I finished second in the championship. I went to cup final, semi-final,
Second
and I
is
beat
last.
Premier League teams, mate.
What did you get for second
I
when
didn't
you
run
finished
about
second?
Brecon and get them relegated to the Highland League.
that Michael Tidzer's worked his magic. New Dunfermline Boss are now 2-1 up at home to Wraith Rovers. However, the team that he's left haven't got the new manager bounce. Charlie Mulgrew's Kelty Hearts are now losing 3-1 at home to Annan. I'm sure Scott Allen told me they would batter Annan when he was leaving the studio last night. There's words to that effect.
So, honestly, it'll hit Charlie just getting into his first real job. It's different. Youth football's different because you lose a game and you're there to develop the players, so you need to see past the result of youth football. When you go into your first job, it's everything. You go in with the greatest intentions, you feel good in the first game, and then you lose that one. I was looking at Airdrie. Airdrie I went
listen to Angelotti over here.
Well, Airdrie I went 4 in the bounce,
completely different,
and I won every one, and you're thinking this is easy. At Brecon I went in, I was 1-0 up against Cove, and I thought this is easy. Battered 4-2, and then just couldn't buy one.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
The Jambos are flying 4-0 up at Dundee. They are running away with it, and there is still time for this to get worse, and it's Musa Drami who has got the next one. It's a tap in. I don't think he or Neil Critchley or the travelling Hearts fans will care, because this is a comfortable afternoon on Tayside. Dundee 0, Hearts 4. Hugh Keevins.
Two ways of looking at it. Another good step forward for Neil Critchley and Hearts. Lon Shanklin getting a goal, Kabangu another goal for Hearts. Other way of looking at it, that's a going over at home for Tony Docherty. Next game, Celtic away. That's a real going over.
Imagine the odds you would have got 3-4 weeks ago on Hibs and Hearts finishing in the top 5, because you wonder maybe a bit of a stretch to catch Dundee United, but not that far away.
There is a check for an Aberdeen penalty, a potential handball. So communication just ongoing at the moment, and I know everyone thinks the Dons are done and dusted and hopeless, but if they were to pull it back to 2-1, you never know come the end of this game. And he is going to the screen. Is it Don Robertson, the referee? He's going to the screen anyway, whoever the ref is, and that usually, although tell this to Nick Walsh, means that there is a change in decision about to take place.
Do you think that with Nick Walsh in mind, referees now go to the monitor thinking, whoa, maybe I shouldn't stand by my decision?
I think it has to be case by case, doesn't it? Because Nick Walsh did it just a few weeks after Chris Graham got pilloried for it. So I think in that moment they, believe it or not, just try and get it right, which
this could be a big moment for Aberdeen.
It's not always successful.
Big moment. Who takes the penalties? Clarkson, maybe? Is he still on the pitch?
Well, McGrath's not there, is he?
No.
Papagay still on?
You would. It's a big responsibility, whoever it is, because if they miss it, then it's game over. If they get it, all of a sudden I've got a little bit of hope. Just wonder if the referee's going to point towards that penalty spot for Aberdeen.
Kevin Nisbet's got the ball.
Big moment for them. Just spark something if they get a penalty.
Well, you know,
no, he's not giving it. There you go. And but this is why we probably shouldn't link them all, this kind of, Nick Walsh stuff and all that, Hugh, because he's gone to the monitor and he's stuck by his decision, and from what I'm hearing,
it's the correct one.
People are going to support this.
Support the ref.
They're going to support the ref here on this one.
Yeah.
So that's why it is important that we don't broad brush it and hope that they never stick by their decision when they go to the monitor, because from what I'm hearing, it is a major surprise that this was even looked at. So there we go. Stays 2-0.
Good things all round, apart from Jimmy Tilleen. VAR does its job. Referee is vindicated. So all good, unless you're Jimmy Tilleen, because that was the lifeline, and the lifeline's not there anymore.
This is a big goal.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Johnstone have taken the lead. St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 1, and it's the man. He wasn't even signed for his goals, but he chipped in with a late one against Motherwell. He's done it again. Bozo Mikulic has scored for St Johnstone, and all of a sudden things are looking a bit different down there.
Well, he's turned into the great escape man, Simo Valakari, and that's a huge score line, not yet a result. If it were to be a result, he goes on to 21 points, only 4 away from Kilmarnock, puts pressure on Derek McInnes tonight against Dundee United. Never mind getting carried around the pubs. It's a real important breakthrough. I mean,
he'll be the owner of the pub. I'd be 3 in a row. Obviously the Scottish Cup ties in there against Motherwell, 2 against Motherwell, and today I don't think anybody seen that coming. And I think it was Fraser was talking about. He's been well backed. They brought in players, and he's getting a good reaction. And what a great result! If he can hang on, still plenty of time to go. If he can hang on, that'd be a great 3 points for him.
Bit of a scrappy one, but it was always going to be by the sounds of this game. So ball bouncing around from a corner, almost mishits it into the net, but he won't complain. It was a sort of scrappy goal last week as well, but you got to take them however they come when you're in St Johnstone's position, and that position is looking better. 1-0 up at St Mirren. Remind us of your teaser please, Hugh.
Okay, I have played in England, Spain, Germany, Scotland, been managed by Fabio Capello and Walter Smith, and I've been teammates with Davy Weir and Tony Yeboah. Who am I?
Good question. I think it's very much in the doable category. Even Gordon Dale's got it, although he happens to be quite good at them. Joe says Rooney, Everton, England. That's his thinking there.
No.
Okay, let's see. I think a lot of people getting that one right, so must make them harder next week, I think. But it's a race, so need to get them going at Clyde SSB. Dundee have made a change, but goodness, I don't think it's going to do much. 4-0 down at home, so Larkesh comes on for Adewumi, who has been very good over the piece but hasn't managed to have an impact today. Bonnie Rigrose 2, Clyde 1. Martin Rennie with just over 10 minutes to go there in League 2. A couple of changes for St Johnstone now, looking to preserve that lead. Had some freshness. Stephen and Sidibe on, Carey and Kirk off.
All of a sudden you look at St Mirren, last 6 games, if the scoreline of 1-0 St Johnstone becomes the final result, last 6 games for St Mirren, 5 defeats, 1 win. 5 defeats.
And then the win was a good one. It's a very strange run at the moment, but we'll see how that one ends. Do St Mirren have an equaliser in them?
I wouldn't put it by them.
No.
They like a late goal, don't they?
They like a late goal down in Paisley area, but
problem is so does St Johnstone.
So 2-1 St Johnstone then.
Yeah,
is that what we were saying here, Hugh?
Yeah, I think so.
Of course, it was a reverse fixture, was it not? That St Mirren, O'Hara missed a penalty up at McDermott Park, did it not? And then it got retook.
Yeah, pulled his thigh, taking the penalty.
Won the game late on.
Right, so we are in that late drama territory. That would be the main venue for it, really. St Mirren, St Johnstone. There's only 1 goal in it. Can the Perth Saints offer something at home? And you would imagine it's a bit too late for Aberdeen, but this fixture has been crazy this season, and there will be a lot of time added as well. There have been loads of delays in that one, but it is Hibs 2, Aberdeen 0. Only 76 minutes gone there, so we are a bit behind.
Have I missed anything from Hamilton? Is it still 0-0?
Roger Hannah's fallen asleep, no idea. Just he's gone. There's
a big drum's done him. He's
nothing happening whatsoever.
You're calling Roger Hannah big drum.
The big drum's away up the road.
And one thing is for sure, it's over between Dundee and Hearts. Even you, Hugh Keevins, with your sense of madness.
Yeah, as I say, it's a real going over for Tony Docherty's team at home. But it is a further indication of the impact that Neil Critchley is having. His signings are having. Shanklin's got another goal. Could be a fine close to the season for Lawrence Shankland and the club in general. All going in the right direction.
That's what we applied this to St Mirren. You can say it about Dundee, you can say it about all those teams in that portion of the league. How, if you're Dundee, do you go, you've got 4 home league games in a row, 4 in a row. It's so quite rare that it would happen. You draw with Rangers, you draw with Celtic, you beat Dundee United, and then this happens in the 4th game.
How do you explain it? It's a tough one, and that's a tough thing for managers. You think everything's going right, you've got the right formation, training's been good, like we heard, 11v11 games, and it's all looking good. Bang, you fall behind early on in the game. You're always clambering to get back into it.
Explain it. You want me to explain it?
You're the man, Hugh.
When Brighton lost 7-0, I'm trying to get my head round that first.
Michael Tidser will get that victory by the looks of it. They're now 3-1 up. A Chris Kane hat-trick. He's rounded it off from the penalty spot, the former St Johnstone man. So Dunfermline 3, Wraith Rovers 1. If you are interested in the English Premier League title race, is it still a race? It's kind of petering out already. Liverpool are 2 up at Bournemouth. Mohamed Salah with his second.
I think that's why Kieran Tierney's not coming up the road. Mikel Arteta, he still believes that there's a possibility of Arsenal winning the title. I don't think he's got any chance, but the like of Kieran Tierney is going nowhere until he works out how the domestic and European football goes.
Yeah, Arsenal clearly want to just keep that until the summer, as David Friel pointed out, because if it is to happen soon, then there's a bit of financial matching up to be done, you would imagine.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to look.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dundee 0, Hearts 5. It's Elton Kabangu again. A great left-footed shot. He has been a brilliant goal-scoring threat since joining the club. He's got another double here, added to the double he got against Brecon. The one he got against Kilmarnock in between. He is flying, and so are Hearts. 5-0 up at Dens. And finally for Roger Hannah as well, 1-0 to Ayr United. It's Hamilton Accies 0, Ayr United 1. Mark McKenzie's header at the back post, Jake Hastie's cross, and it is the goal that, as it stands, takes Ayr United top of the Championship.
And a proud moment for Scott Brown as a manager, in his fledgling career as a manager, top of the Championship. And you know, there's a lot to like about Ayr United. A resurgence there. The ground has been spruced up. They would be a welcome addition, bit of freshness into the Premiership. But it's some race now. Ayr top, Falkirk, Livingston, Davy Martindale never gives up on anything. It's terrific to watch.
What, you would not like to be 5-0 down at any point in a game, but it could still be a good 15 minutes
at home. That's tough going. Yeah.
Well, you've got good experience, Mark.
No, never at home. Never at home. Only took 6 at home against Dundee United.
Did you? 6.
They were the Premiership side of that.
That's not nice. As a manager, you're standing there. You just want that. You want that whistle to go. You want back in that dressing room, and you want to start looking at next week's fixtures. They've got, I think their next Premier League team is Aberdeen come calling. Is that right, Dens? So that'll be a real.
Do you ever take a beating like that at home as a player?
A player?
Aye.
No, I don't think I did actually.
I'm not sure myself. I don't think I did either.
David Friel said that he monitored the Aberdeen fans at Easter Road at half time, and there were no great signs of distress. I just wonder if it'll be different at time up when it's another defeat. 14 games in a row with no wins. I just wonder if the fans, this might be the day when they say, hold on a minute.
I think they can still be annoyed and vent their anger without calling for the manager to get the sack.
See, just on that topic, I remember I was trying to get the scoreline right in my head. Motherwell 1, Dundee 5. Do you remember that? I think it maybe was Mark 2017, maybe Mark McGee's last game, or it was certainly one that did for him in the end, round about that time. You know, the fans kind of went outside with banners and stuff like that, I think, whilst the game was on.
That's never a good sign, is it, as a manager?
I've been in that camp.
See, how bad must you have been, or how annoyed must the fans have been to protest against you? At least I just slipped at the back door.
But I was setting high expectations, Mark. I was beating Premier League teams and cups and everything.
You keep going back to that Premier League team once.
I was second the Championship to a Hibs team that had spent fortunes.
I told you, second is last.
McLeish.
You don't get in for second.
And plus the fact,
especially in the second league.
At that time we couldn't go up, and I was told, look, you just need to be second. You'll get your big bonus. Because we didn't have the stadium. Unfortunately, it was the stadium at that time.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Well, Ayr United might finally be destined for the top flight under a real manager this time, because they're 2-0 up at Hamilton now. George Stanger with the goal. Hamilton Accies 0, Ayr United 2. They're going to win it. They're going to go top of the league by the end of the day.
Yeah, as I say, it's nice to see Ayr United. When the Dazzler was there, there was real life about the place when he was the manager.
Thank you, Hugh.
I go back years and years, as you remember, when Ali McLeod was Ayr United manager. Fantastic. Be great to see Ayr United back in the top flight. Been a long time, and great to see Scott Brown getting his managerial career off to a real flyer now.
Seen the stand for the first time.
Might have gone a bit early though. I mean, there's still work to be done.
New stand. I've seen it for the first time last week.
It's a terrific place.
However, what about the other areas if they do come up? Is there not still standing? Is it not still terracing?
Yeah, both ends of the goals.
How does that work?
You just get and stand.
Are you allowed to do that though in the Premiership? The stadium criteria.
I've got the plans under my bed if anybody wants them. If the new chairman would like to give me a call.
The Hearts fans.
He certainly didn't in the 100th anniversary, but I'm still no bad about that one.
The Hearts fans are singing Kabangu to the tune of Tequila.
I thought there was going to be an Elton John song in there somewhere.
No,
You've got
that's
to,
better.
Yeah,
Punchy.
think so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that tune. I can't get the tune. Who is it?
Kabangu.
Kabangu.
Is that your karaoke song?
Oh,
just one word.
The overnight oats are kicking in now.
Roger Hanna says the Accies fans are demanding that John Rankin
go somewhere,
politely leaves his role.
He's another one under pressure, John.
You're just a grim reaper for managers
no,
today.
I just
young
know
managers. He's calling them.
I'm doing a lot of research, and I find it difficult because I was a manager myself. And there's nothing worse when someone else talks about, you're getting this side. But we're on here to do a job, and I know that John Rankin is under a little bit of pressure. John will know that. Listen, he's an experienced guy, a great guy, dedicated pro. He needs to turn things round very quickly.
Do you think he should be? No.
Listen, you could argue about everything, Mark, but the nature of football now, you know what like is fans' patience. The board sometimes, decide change is the only way forward, start to panic.
I don't like this new you, because what you've gained in fitness and health, you've sort of lost in your respect for managers. You're trying to get everybody the bin.
I've not lost it. I'm trying to say I'm hoping that John
Hearts have made a couple of changes. A great name, one of their new signings, Steinvender. You seen him?
Yeah.
He's come
Central
on
defender
for his debut, replacing Lewis Nielsen.
Steinvender. Was he Austrian, German? Sounds very
well
that neck of the woods.
Nice time to bring on
he's for the Highlands.
Central defender. You're 5 up. I mean, he'll cruise through it. You just get a little bit of game time.
And especially if Lawrence Shankland is now scoring like he did today, and so is Kabangu, and so is Dramé, there's suddenly a bit of depth here, because Hearts are 5 up and bring on James Wilson now.
Yeah.
It's not a bad place to be.
Must have had a tough week at school. Maybe just leave him on the bench for this Saturday.
Double P and Friday. Legs are a bit heavy. Don't want to overdo it. Let's round off this teaser, Hugh, to make way for any potential late drama.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I played in England and Spain and Germany and Scotland. I was managed by Fabio Capello and Walter Smith, and I was teammates with Davy Weir and Tony Yeboah. I am Mark Wilson's pal, Tommy Gravison.
Thomas Gravison. Matondo prop again in the podium, second time today. In third place, Grant McIver in second. And Celtic stats and trivia. Well, come on, if you're going to call yourself Celtic stats and trivia, you really need to be getting that.
Correct.
And he did, and they got it faster than everyone else. So well done. The winner of the second half teaser, your old pal. Have you seen him since you randomly bumped into him in a Las Vegas hotel?
I met him at Celtic Park. Celtic played Copenhagen. He was a changed man. I think he's read some of the Dazzler's books by that point and went along that path, because he seemed very sensible. I think he was on media duties though, so he was keeping a lid on things. But in his playing days, by far the craziest player you're ever likely to come across.
You do a good impersonation of him. Do the impersonation. I like that. We done a dinner. Was it a dinner or something? You should have heard the stories he was coming out with.
Rubbish.
No, his impersonation of Ton Gravison was brilliant.
Well, etched in my mind.
Did you not say he always used to come up behind you and like grab you and
he used to
gyrate around and
move vigorously? He used to do.
It's really weird that.
Yeah, very weird.
Really weird that.
But I wasn't just the players. It was brilliant when he done it to like physios and just guys who'd been through medical school, doctors and everything used to get it.
He's coming, run!
What a guy, man! What a guy!
How did you rate him as a player?
By the way, outstanding player in training. But in a game, he was like dug off the lead. He wouldn't take instructions, especially at Celtic. But I thought he was outstanding technically.
Oh, that could be an important goal. Partick Thistle 2, Morton 2, 91st minute. Logan Chalmers with a 91st minute equaliser. I'm not sure it will delight the home fans, but it will certainly take the sting out of some of the anger that was bound to be doing the rounds at full time.
Yeah, it was big that because Morton's got 2 games in hand over Thistle, so it was important that Thistle didn't lose that one.
I mean, maybe a chance for Aberdeen to get something back. They've hit the bar, over the bar, from Kevin Nisbet. It was a good chance. He was only 8 yards out. So Hearts are playing some great stuff at Dens as well. Cammy Devlin's had a shot deflected onto the bar at 5-0 up.
Well, great day for Neil Critchley and a horrible day for Tony Docherty. As I say, they're at Celtic Park on Wednesday, coming off the back of a 5-0 defeat at home. There's some conversation in that dressing room tonight.
Who'd be a manager? Yeah.
See, I think the strategy is Jota gets a cameo appearance at Fir Park tomorrow. Jota gets a longer appearance against Dundee midweek. Jota plays all of the game against Wraith Rovers in the Scottish Cup next Saturday evening, and then Jota starts the match for Celtic against Bayern at Celtic Park.
Then Jota's player of the year come May. Think he could win it in that 6 months time. 3 months even.
You know, if you're sitting in the main stand at Hamilton Accies like Roger Hanna is, and you look over to your right, you can see the back of like Iceland, Sainsbury's, etc. There's a wee fire in the background there, and I'm not laughing. I can say that it's not anything serious. I don't think it's just like bin on fire or something, but that's entertaining Roger Hanna while the game rages on. Only in Scottish football.
Top reporting there from the Sun's main man.
You could nip out and get your shot and be back in before a goal was scored. That
heat you up.
Yeah.
In fact, it's not even that cold out there, is it?
Oh, it was cold this morning.
Was it? This guy was on the golf course. All over the golf course, I could say.
Someone sent me a message to say they saw you falling on the golf course today.
Yeah, I went
true
down.
Or false?
Oh, true.
Seriously?
True, yeah. And my good FootJoy gear was covered in muck.
You slip
right down the hill.
Winter
do you know
golf,
something?
it's a bit slimy.
I went down at a rate of knots.
I'd love to have seen
I
that.
went down at a rate of knots. No one of the ones I bounced back up and they're going, my partners were going, "Are you okay?" And I'm going, yeah. Oh, I was nearly crying. It was a hit backside, and I was up to with mud, right? And I had the towel try to wipe them. Oh, it was terrible.
I would love to have seen that. It made my day.
Yeah,
9 minutes added at Easter Road.
Oh dear.
Strap yourself in. If the last meeting in the capital's anything to go by, we could get 4 more goals in this time.
Yeah, but the trouble is, if Hibs go 3 up, then it's even worse for Jimmy Tilleen.
I can't see Aberdeen getting back in.
9 minutes come from the stoppage for the penalty kick.
Substitutions.
Was it? That's the thing that annoys me though. It's inconsistent about substitutions. Sometimes they will take that into consideration and you get 6 and 7 minutes. Other times you'll just see 2 minutes, 3 minutes, yet the teams have made all 5 subs.
Well, just give the Aberdeen fans an excuse to say we played them for 99 minutes and didn't score.
Yeah, so that's not a good debut, is it? Adam Devine, Rangers youngster.
Where is he now?
Queen's Park, just announced
in the
today.
Dressing room.
He's
That's where he
back
is.
in the dressing room. Been sent off 95th
Is Avery still winning
minute.
that one?
Yep, 2-1.
It was just announced today, that wasn't it?
That's a good sign for Avery. I quite like that lad. I know he's not getting his chance at Rangers, but I think he would do a good turn somewhere else. And obviously he's out at Airdrie. Not a good start.
It is not a good start at all. He's had that injury, didn't he? Went on loan previously to Motherwell.
Yeah. Grandson of the famous Sid.
That's right. It is finished in South Lanarkshire. Roger Hanna has watched it. How did it go?
It's finished. Hamilton Accies 0, Ayr United 2. Scott Brown's honest men are top of the championship table tonight. They had to wait 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. First by Mark McKenzie, then by George Stanger. Got them the 3 points to lift them above Livy and above Falkirk into pole position for the title. They could have been ahead in the first half. They should have been ahead in the first half. A penalty kick. Matthew McDermott, the referee, pointing to the spot after Conor McLennan's cross was handled by Stephen Hendry in the box, but Jay Henderson's weak effort easily saved down to his left by Dean Linus. Ayr huffed and puffed for long spells of this game, but they made decisive substitutions in the second half. There was a triple change in 56 minutes which saw McKenzie introduced in the right wing back role, then a change when Jake Hastie was sent on in the left wing back role replacing Paddy Redding, and the 2 new men linked in 80 minutes. A terrific deep cross from Hastie on the left, in came McKenzie at the back post, boomed a header back past Linus and in off the underside of the bar. It was almost 2 straight away. Marco Russ's cross, George Oakley's header, a scrambling save by Linus, but it only delayed Ayer's second goal by 60 seconds. A corner on the left, the Accies defence couldn't clear it, and there was former Hamilton centre back George Stanger, who also scored here in the win in August, to knock it over the line from close range. At that stage the Accies fans turned on home manager John Rankin. A third defeat in a week for the Accies, no goals scored. It was a dreadful afternoon for the 60-year-old mascot, but at least the Drummers got home. Ayr United are top of the league, Gordon. Hamilton 0, Ayr 2.
I'll tell you what, that is an angry reaction from those Hamilton fans, Hugh, because I don't mean to sound disrespectful, there won't be that many of them, and that is a racket in the background.
As a consequence of Dunfermline winning against Wraith Rovers, it puts the Accies second bottom. They're still a way off bottom, but that was a very loud demonstration of discontent. Very loud indeed.
Let's tell you about another one of these.
With M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dundee 0.
Oh no.
Hearts 6. And it's Kenneth Vargas. Dundee are all over the place. Vargas had time to pick his spot, and it is getting worse and worse for Dundee. Better and better as a result for Hearts. They were cruising half an hour ago, so I don't know what you would call this. 6-0 up, Hugh.
Well, there's no way of sugarcoating this if you are Tony Docherty. You know, the demonstration that we heard at the end of the Hamilton Accies Ayr United game will be replicated at Dens Park. Home supporters really do not stand for a 6-0 defeat at home. It's simply unacceptable, and it casts a shadow of doubt over everything at the club. If you're capable of losing 6-0 at home, what are you also capable of doing? Slipping down that league even further?
It's a remarkable scoreline.
Looks particularly bad when it's the team just placed below you at the start of the day, but what a day for Hearts. 6 goals, wipes out their negative goal difference, takes them to +1, takes them on to 30 points, and above St Mirren. Is St Mirren still behind? Yeah, they are to St Johnstone. So what a day for Neil Critchley.
And it's finished there. Dave Galloway, good luck keeping this match report short, Dave.
Oh wow, Dundee 0, Hearts 6. A superb performance by Neil Critchley's men. Magnificent against their shell-shocked hosts. Hearts threatened early with Shankland's header from Penrice's cross, well saved by Carson, and Murray shot straight at Gordon at the other end, but Hearts went ahead in the 15th minute. Shankland controlled the ball with his right foot, swivelled and scored with a terrific left-footed drive into the bottom corner. After 17 minutes it was 2-0. A deflected cross. Spittle controlled the ball with his chest and lashed a superb volley from the edge of the box into the top corner of the net. Nielsen almost made it 3. His flick kept out at full stretch by Carson, who also made an impressive save to beat away Kabangu's well struck effort after a nice build-up. Dundee missed a very good chance to pull one back when Murray weakly headed straight at Gordon as half-time beckoned, but 6 minutes into the second half the visitors made it 3 with a superbly worked goal. Shankland with a through ball, a fantastic burst of speed by Kabangu, and a very cool finish. And it was 4-0 to the Jam Tarts on 67 minutes. Spittle swung in a free kick. Carson dropped the ball and Drame had a tap-in. Kabangu capped off a very impressive performance by scoring a spectacular 5th goal for Hearts on 77 minutes. Penrice's corner helped on by Shankland, and then the ball smashed home in very fine fashion by Cabangu. Hearts playing some great stuff. Forrest got clean through, but Carson blocked with his legs, and Devlin's shot was deflected onto the bar. But in the 92nd minute, it was 6-0. Dundee were all over the shop, and Vargas had time to pick his spot. What a game, what a performance by Hearts. Dundee 0, Hearts 6.
Wow, what a scoreline that is. Roger Hanna and usually Andy Halliday picked their result of the weekend on a Monday night. I think it's going to take something quite spectacular tomorrow to knock that one off its perch, because that is sensational from Hearts. 6-0 full time in Paisley. Fraser Wishart, this might be a contender.
Yes, a great result for St Johnstone to my right. The supporters are applauding the players who are taking their applause, and they deserve it, because it's a huge win for St Johnstone. They've kept the momentum going, the third win in a row. I have to say it was against a very poor St Mirren performance, and it was unlikely source of Bozo Mikulic that scored the winner for the second week in a row. We can gloss over the first half where little happened. Only 2 efforts at goal from St Mirren came from Mandon O'Hara, both straight at the goalkeeper. St Johnstone didn't have a touch in the St Mirren box. We went for better in the second half, but the pattern remained the same for the first 15 minutes or so. St Mirren with the ball in the St Johnstone half, unable to create anything. But in 60 minutes, the game began to liven up. St Johnstone, the first effort at goal, took a great double save by Zach Hemming to keep the scores level. He beat away a fierce shot by Graham Carey and then dived to push wide a Mackenzie Kirk header from the rebound. Then Carey opened up a chance for himself and blazed over from the edge of the box. Even Villacari was not happy. He had these hands. He knew that was a good chance. Sir Greg Kilty ended the ball in the net for St Mirren from a Wamono cross, and the St Mirren fans celebrated. Ref Dan McFarlane disallowed the goal for a foul in the build-up by Olasanya. That was confirmed by VAR. And then in 71 minutes came the winning goal. Graham Carey looked up actually at the clock behind him. He knew the game was entering a really crucial stage. He swung in a really good corner. It wasn't cleared by the St Mirren defence, and Mikulic swung a leg at the ball. He didn't really get a clean strike on it, but St Johnstone fans don't care because the ball ended up in the back of the net. St Mirren knew that to up their game, to get the equaliser. They began to pressure St Johnstone goal. Number of balls into the box. Mikulic and Sprangler and Douglas were outstanding, defending really well. Phillips with a cross to the back post, it just evaded sub James Scott. But for all their efforts, St Mirren, the Ross Sinclair and St Johnstone goal didn't have a save to make throughout the 90 minutes. St Johnstone closed the gap on those above them. They're only 4 points behind Kelly after a really excellent defensive performance, and a few teams now will be looking over their shoulder. Even St Mirren, 5 defeats in their last 6, only 1 goal. I think that leaves them with a real problem here. They need to get a result and get back on track very, very quickly. Full time at the Spicer Stadium, St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 1.
And what about the game of the day? We said for various reasons, Hibs against Aberdeen. How did it finish, David Friel?
Full time, Gordon. Hibs 2, Aberdeen 0 after 99 minutes. Another big win for Hibs, another dismal day for Aberdeen. I kept an eye on the Aberdeen fans at half time. I'm looking at them just now. They are extremely angry, and no wonder. Jimmy Tillion's side have now gone 14 Premiership games without a win. They've taken just 4 points from the last 42, and those fans, who, as I said, angry is probably an understatement, are asking serious questions. However, it's all about Hibs. They were once again excellent. They moved up to 5th place, just 2 points behind Aberdeen. There's been a 21 point swing between these two in less than 10 weeks, and David Gray will now have his sights set on leapfrogging Aberdeen. Hibs are unbeaten 9 league games, and at this rate I don't think it's long before they do that and they do overtake Aberdeen. There wasn't a great deal of action in the first half. Nectar Tiantis did grab the opener in 24 minutes. Martin Boyle's corner picked Josh Campbell out at the back post. He headed back across goal for Tiantis. Pretty simple, well worked set piece, and he headed into the corner. Jimmy Tillion didn't make any subs at half time, but I think by 48 minutes he probably wished they had. Aberdeen were 2-0 down by then. Chris Cadden's cross was flicked on by Dwight Gale, and Nicky Cadden coming in off the left wing headed in off the underside of the bar. There was a VAR check for offside. Easter Road really did erupt as the goal was finally given. Aberdeen thought they then had been handed a lifeline late on when VAR Kevin Clancy recommended a review for a Rocky Bashiri handball. Don Robertson went to the screen. It was a waste of time. It was a ridiculous call from Kevin Clancy. I don't know what he was thinking, and the referee quite rightly waved play on. Martin Boyle fluffed a really good chance to make it 3-0. For Aberdeen had some late pressure, as you would expect. Kevin Nisbet had been booed on against his former club. He had a glorious chance to score, but fired over the bar from 8 yards. That pretty much summed up their day and capped another dire defeat for Aberdeen. Full time, Hibs 2, Aberdeen 0.
Come on then, it's time for you to have your say on the phones. So what is on your mind tonight? 0141 951 1025. If you want to talk about today's action, then Aberdeen fans, yet again we're looking at you. Where do you go from here? It is another defeat. The run continues. How are you feeling about it all? What about you St Mirren fans? How much of a disappointment How much of a disappointment was that at home to the bottom of the league, St Johnstone? Where did that go wrong for you today? We don't do this often at this time on a Saturday, but Hamilton Accies fans, if you're listening, that noise I heard at the full-time whistle there was furious. So if you want to share your frustrations, you can do. And then tomorrow, how many talking points are there? Motherwell fans, can you, against all odds, do something with no manager? Celtic fans, would you start Jota? Yes or no? Do you throw Jota right in? Is he going to come off the bench? How do you see it going? And what are you thinking about the next few days of the transfer window? Because it's getting close and still no replacement as such for Kyogo, and no left back now that Alex Valle is gone. So talk transfers with us. Rangers fans, on paper it's a more straightforward fixture tomorrow at home to Ross County. But how are you feeling? Union Saint-Gilloise, Europa League. Does Philippe Clement now get a bit more money to spend? All that sort of stuff. Give us a call on 0141 951 1025 and we will speak to you next.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel and Hugh Keevins are here to take your calls on 0141 951 1025. Let's look back on today's action. If you're feeling good about yourself based on what you saw today, that probably means you're a Hearts fan or a Hibs fan. If you're feeling bad about yourself, St Mirren fans might fall into that category. Dundee fans, 6-0 at home to Hearts. We've got the transfer window on our mind, Celtic fans. So you're now starting to get a bit titchy about what needs done in the next couple of days. I noticed reports tonight, and there's been a lot said about a pursuit of Matthias Fitzgarden from Brøndby. Talks apparently have broken down between the clubs. So if there is going to be a new striker, it doesn't look like it will be him. Maybe it will be Kelechi Iheanacho, who is at Sevilla, used to play under Brendan Rodgers at Leicester. Do you need a new left back? Will Jota feature tomorrow? How much will he feature at Fir Park? Rangers fans, you've got Ross County at home. It has, even in your lowest moments this season, never been the type of fixture that tends to worry you. Your home record is pretty good, but what are you thinking ahead of that one? And transfers for you, do you think Philippe Clement will get a bit more to spend after the uplift in Europe during the week? Give us a call on 0141 951 1025. A lot happening already today, Hugh, and plenty more to come. We've even got Kilmarnock Dundee United at 5:45.
Well, all of a sudden Kilmarnock Dundee United becomes even more tasty, because Kilmarnock are now only 4 points above St Johnstone. That's nothing when you have 13-14 games left to play in the season. So they have to be careful against Jim Goodwin's team tonight. With regard to tomorrow, of course Jota hogs the headlines. I don't think he'll start the game, but I do think he'll come on, and I do think there'll be a sequence of matches to get him ready for Bayern Munich. Rangers against Ross County, you can make out no case whatsoever for Ross County. Rangers are off the back of the win over Union Saint-Gilloise, and they will go on and take care of Ross County. They beat them 6-0 already this season. It could be the same score again.
Good day again, looking back on it, and some surprise results in there. I don't think any of us could have seen the margin of victory for Hearts. I certainly thought they would go to Dens and win, but not by 6-0. Aberdeen Hibs, another good result for David Gray and Hibs. So while Aberdeen are falling apart, Hibs are building towards something that could resemble a special finish for them. And how high can he actually take them in this league? And then in the Championship, Ayr United going top. And sorry, I've missed out the surprise, one of the biggest surprises of the day. Bottom team St Johnstone beating St Mirren, who beat Aberdeen 3-0. How can you work out this league when you ask us to give us Gerakia at the start of the day? How can we ever get one right with results like that?
You won't, but it's been a good day, Gordon Dalziel, so far, with plenty of talking points and much more to come.
Another exciting weekend, and obviously it kicks into tomorrow as well. Celtic at Fir Park. Hugh's right. Everybody will be excited to see Jota. How long does he get tomorrow? I agree, I don't think he'll start. I fancy Rangers strongly to beat Ross County. But about today, St Johnstone, that's 3 in a bounce. 2 against Motherwell, 1 in the Cup, and obviously a real difficult game at Paisley. After St Mirren going up and battering Aberdeen at Pittodrie, great result for them. Hearts are just getting better and better every game they're playing. And you look down in the Championship, and congratulations to my old team. Can they stay there? It's going to be difficult. Ayr, Falkirk, Livingston, all going for that Championship.
0141 951 1025. Do you have today's action on your mind, tomorrow's, this evening's, the transfer window, European success and draws in midweek? Give us all your thoughts right now, please, just like Robbie has done on the lines. How are you, Robbie?
Not too bad, Gordon. Good evening, guys. Good evening, panel. Yep. I just want to talk about Jota. Lack of game time. Obviously, he's not had a really good run at it in Saudi Arabia and at Rennes over in France. But I think that Hugh Keevins, I'm pretty sure earlier on he said that he's going to be getting drip-fed back into the team. I think he'll start against Bayern Munich, but I think Hugh's right. It'll probably be a substitute appearance tomorrow. Dundee, it'll probably be a substitute appearance again, and I think he might start against Ray Rover. I actually think that if that Bayern Munich game wasn't there, I think I'm just guessing here and just generalising, but I think that he'll be get drip fed back into the team, and just to get his fitness and sharpness up, because Brendan Rodgers did say at the press conference that he's fit, but just not football fit. I think it just means that the match sharpness, and the fitness levels and real game time rather than just training. So I think Hugh's absolutely spot on. He'll be getting drip fed back into the team where possibly a start against Ray Rovers, and I'm really happy that Jota's back. I called in at the start of December, Gordon, when I was, I'm sure you mind the call. It was actually around about the same time. It was a Saturday just after 5 o'clock, and it was I was talking about that Dan Casey red card, and you had asked me about my own team, and that's when I said about Jota coming back. That was early December, and if we can get him back, it was the wrong formation that Sam Pally, who's now left the club. He wasn't playing out and out wingers, and his front three was two narrow number 10s and a striker. So I think I wouldn't say that Jota was an absolute dud in France. I think it's just to do with the original manager Joe Stephen. I think it was more to do with fitness issues, and he was more in favour with him. But after that Sam Pally came in, it was just to do with the formation changing that he put in. But I'm just glad that Jota's back, and
I hope you're on a cut of the deal for predicting it so early on. But Robbie is right. Not only has Brendan Rodgers said it, Jota himself said physically there's there's a bit of making up to do. 7 weeks, Hugh, since the last time he played competitively. He came off the bench, I think, for the last 15 minutes for Rennes that evening. That, like I say, 7 weeks ago. So going to have to be drip fed in.
Of course, and Jota is a major story. However, the world doesn't revolve around Jota tomorrow. There's a job of work to be done against a team who have no manager, a team who have lost their best player, Lennon Miller, and a team who have had one win in their last 9 games. Now, does that make them more dangerous than they would appear? Celtic have to be careful. They have Rangers playing Ross County, which for me is an absolute given. It's 3 points for Rangers. Celtic have to pick up on League football after Champions League football, and there's a job to be done. So, can Adam Ida, scorer of 2 goals at Villa Park, can he score at Fir Park? Will Celtic be able to recapture the kind of form that they had when Kyogo was about the place? Think of Kyogo's last game, Ross County away, utterly sensational, scored 2 goals, best man in the park by a distance, but now he's gone. What does league life look like minus Kyogo Furuhashi?
Is that the way you see it for the next few weeks, Mark? It's quite a simple plan almost, where Jota comes on for a bit tomorrow. He's got number 7 board, goes up. The fans love to see him back. He gets the last 15 minutes, and then that increases over the next few games until Bayern Munich.
It would seem the most sensible approach. I think with Jota, of course, not played since mid-December, and it was just an appearance off the bench. So yeah, you do need a bit of match fitness behind you. You also need to understand the way Brendan Rodgers plays, and from the naked eye you might just think, it's just the same as Ange Postecoglou, but there'll be lots of wee differences that he needs to learn first before being flung in. So that's why I think it makes sense. And also it'd be different if Brendan Rodgers didn't have options in those areas. He does have options in those areas, so I think that's pretty much how it will play out. But what an option to have, because in recent years we've seen Motherwell make it difficult for Celtic. Remember last season where Brendan Rodgers had his famous quote to Jane Lewis after the game, where how close he was to losing that game, made a big decision at half time to bring Eid on, who dug him out a hole. So it could be difficult tomorrow. But if you've got a guy like Jota in reserve that you can call on, if it is difficult, it shows the strength that you've got. But it might take a bit of time to get him up to speed.
I agree with the lads. I think it'll be from the substitutes bench tomorrow. I think Robbie makes good points here. You look at Dundee midweek, it could be the same. Just build it up. They've got time before the Bayern Munich game. Wraith Rovers would be a certainty. Get him on there and get him a good 70 odd minutes under his legs, whatever they feel, because he has got to be a big player for him. Of course he is. He's a fantastic talent, but I've got to say I'm looking forward to see him the second time round, because I think he'll only be better.
Robbie, what do you think about the club's I suppose pursuit of a new striker? I was going to say, is it they definitely have one? You would have to imagine yes, because of Kyogo. So what do you think of that department?
I see that as you said about 5-10 minutes ago, Gordon, this Kitzgarden deal has broken down, and Brendan Rodgers is now pursuing, I think it might be an initial loan or maybe an option to buy. We'll see what comes of that. But this guy Kelechi Iheanacho, who worked with Brendan Rodgers at Leicester, he's 28, he's 6'1", so quite a big boy. He's goal scoring, I'm noticing, isn't he totally, let's just say 1 in every 2, but it looks like 1 in every 3 for league appearances for Leicester, or maybe even slightly not quite as good as that. But I mean, we'll just need to see if that comes to fruition. But I mean, I would be quite happy for, believe it or not, as much as a striker, he needs to get a striker in just for that wee bit extra on the centre forward position. But I actually think it's pretty much split. A lot of people like Diaz Maeda specifically on the wing, but I actually quite like him through the middle. I think he's actually really, really good through the middle, especially when he's getting balls fed through to him, and he's one-on-one with the keeper. And here's another thing that I'm going to say about Diaz Maeda. I think he's better getting on the endy stuff rather than him being the supplier. Again, nobody's going to change my mind that I like to, as much as he can fluff out of the bar sometimes. Even with his crossing, I think his high crossing is really, really bad for the wide position. But when he keeps it low, it's a wee bit better. But I prefer him getting on the end of things rather than him being the guy who's assisting.
Here's the problem, I think, with Maeda, though. I think this has been Maeda's best season for Celtic from a wide area. And I know he's played there for a number of years now, but this is his best season. And then you're lifting him and putting him elsewhere. We all know he can play that position, especially in our league, but you're disrupting something that's going particularly well. You just wonder if Brendan Rodgers has had it in his mind, though. Do you think, if given the choice, Brendan Rodgers would prefer a Jota type winger, with that sort of quality, be able to dribble, be able to take people on? I mean, Diaz Maeda takes people on, but not in that way. Yeah. Kick the ball past them and but when things are tight and teams are set up against you, Jota in a small area, he's certainly different from Maeda. However, you need both, don't you? You've got Kuhn on one side, his pace is electric, but Maeda, you think of the games where Celtic can suck teams in and then it's a quick ball over the top. How many times we've seen it that Robbie was just describing there, across the 6-yard box, and there's your striker to tap it in. It's Maeda's pace that creates that, and it's what teams fear, and it's why they retreat sometimes, to allow your midfielders to go on it. So you need both. I agree with you, Gordon, but I'm just wondering, when you've got a player who's had his best season in that best position, and you're saying, right, you're done there, you're playing through the centre now, it might disrupt things.
To what extent is Brendan Rodgers' thinking coloured by the fact that Maeda can't play against Bayern? He's suspended because he gets sent off against young boys. Does he just say, no, well, Adam Maeda through the middle, see if he can build on Villa Park? And that's why I think tomorrow's important for Adam Maeda. Terrific against Aston Villa, 2 goals, Champions League, absolutely no criticism of his performance whatsoever. But can he do it the very next match?
It was one of his key venues last season, wasn't it? Where everyone pointed about the big goals, the big moments. For Park was one of them. So we'll see what happens there tomorrow, and what happens with Celtic's signings, because there are various reports tonight about Iniacho and Fitzgarden, that talk's apparently breaking down and all that sort of stuff. Still no names really, or not as many I should say, being banded about for a left back replacement for Alex Valle. So we'll see what happens there as well. Give us a call right now though. Is it transfer window? Is it tomorrow's game? Jota, Rangers fans, what are you thinking ahead of the game at Ibrox? European action during the week. There's so much out there, so do give us a call and we'll speak next.
Support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Gordon DL, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins are all waiting for your calls, so do get in touch on 01419511025. That is the number you need, whether it is to look ahead to tomorrow's games, back on today's, European midweek action, European draw, transfer window. It is an unbelievably busy period of this season. We don't often hear from too many Championship managers, but I'm just keen to get the thoughts of John Rankin, because always fascinated on radio when we cross for a full-time report and you can just hear seethe and rage like we did from the Hamilton fans. They lost at home against Ayr today. Here is John Rankin.
Listen, it's always like that here. It is what it is. It doesn't faze me. I try and shut the noise out. I don't know, I'm not unaware of any protest at the end to the owners or the board or anything like that, so I can't comment on that. They turn on me, but that happens. That's happened 3 or 4 seasons in a row now, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm hurting as much as they are, if not more. This is my job, this is my livelihood, this is my players, this is the squad that we built, and we want to get more out of them, so I'm hurting as much as them. That's all I can say on it. As I said, I've never seen the protest at all.
Wow.
Well, you folks in Lanarkshire are hard to please.
It's not the place to be for happy people at the moment.
Stuart Kettlewell's walked and John Rankin is determined to stay. There, in the game of football, is such a thing as legitimate criticism of a manager. It's been there since time began. If you don't like the way the team's playing or the results or what have you, you can make your protest. The conversation we're having now, Hamilton Accies Motherwell, is the extent to which it can possibly, and I underline possibly, get out of hand.
Yeah, that was quite something hearing from John Rankin there. Let's bring in Nadeem, who's a Rangers fan. What's on your mind, Nadeem?
Hi, thanks for taking my call, Gordon. I just want to talk about Rangers and the achievement midweek. I wanted to phone up on Friday, but I didn't get a chance. So, yeah, I just want to talk about that. You know, I obviously I've been a Rangers fan all my life, and I think, for Rangers to get in that top 8, I think that's fantastic. I think that's probably one of the kind of best achievements in the last 20 odd years. I think, in terms of the quality of opposition, the fact that how well we've played. We've played Manchester United, we've played Olympiacos, we've played some really good Tottenham, put some really good sides. The only side that the only team that's maybe given us a bit of a doing has been Lyon. Apart from that, we've done brilliant. And also Dessers, I like to talk about Dessers. Obviously he's a much maligned figure. He has his critics, and I've been one of them, if I'm honest, in the past. But I just think how he's reacted over the last 3 or 4 weeks to the criticism that he's got. For me, it's him and Igaman up top for me, and for me Danilo is absolutely no chance. I think that since Danilo's come back from his injury, I wasn't convinced even before he was injured, Gordon. I wasn't. I take a bit of convinced to see what a good player he could be. I've just not seen him with Danilo. So for me, I'd get Danilo out, get some money in, and maybe get another striker in if you can. But I just think the way he's reacted has been first class.
Come on, Gordon, it's your chance.
Yeah.
It's your chance to speak about your man, because he's been building it back up in the last few weeks. Last time we spoke to you Thursday, we knew he was starting the game and you said he deserved it. And I know he didn't score, but arguably one of his best all-round performances.
Yeah. I thought he led the line brilliantly. I thought at times he's back, working his ticket. He sets up the goal for Tierney as well. Great play down the left-hand side. Gordon, I've seen something in him from day one, right? And it's very easy to call, but he did come under a little bit of pressure, and sometimes he frustrated you, missed chances. We've heard that before. Tell me a centre forward that doesn't. But I think what helped him was, see this spell that he had, he was taking out the team and he started coming on the pitch, and all of a sudden you could see that confidence, the enjoyment of the game. He scores goals. You look at, right, okay, he had a hat-trick against Fraser Wishart, fine. He goes to Manchester United, that's a top-class finish. Dundee United, top class finish. He played his part the other night there. I'm telling you now, people are talking about, oh, Dessers, we can sell him. You would need to be off your rocker to let the guy go out the building. He has got something and he's starting to show what he's all about.
Do you think he's better than Danilo, Mark?
100%.
Yes.
I know you do, for goodness sake. You think he's better than Ronaldo?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think it's quite easy. I mean, strikers are judged on a lot, but ultimately they're judged on their goals. And there is just no comparison between him and Danilo. But then if you even then start to judge the other side of their games, of course, I look at Desser's work rate when he's playing up top alone away in Europe. He puts in a shift for the team. The press starts for him. I look at okay, can his hold up play be better? Of course it is. Is he always willing to put himself in the positions that he misses? Yes. Does he miss chances? Of course. But he's a goal scorer. He is a goal scorer. That, you cannot get away from the numbers a guy has produced this season, and he's been booed by his own support on several occasions. That's a lot to take on board for any player. I think he's strong mentally as well. I think at a club like Rangers, you need that in your makeup to succeed, and I think he shrugs things off. He plays with a smile on his face as well. So I think he is ahead of Danilo. And I said on Thursday night, I think a lot of the fans, it became fashionable to just go, here comes Dessers, boo, and yet Danilo gets off with a scot-free. But that's right.
Like that. I think I hope someone just clips up that very moment. Here comes Dessers, boo.
I think the Rangers fans have been all over the place this season. They wanted the manager out. They wanted Dessers out. They want Danilo out. They have no consistency. They always want the team to be consistent. The fans have no consistency. But I believe there is a genuine chance that Rangers could go all the way to the Europa League final.
Wow.
And Dessers, I think, would be central, along with Igerman, central to that prediction coming true.
Just out of curiosity, Nadeem, where do you sit on the manager now, and maybe compared to 6 weeks ago?
That's a good question, Gordon. I think, I phoned up a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago, when we were going through a really sticky spell, and I did say that that I wanted the manager gone. And then we had that game against Celtic, and I kind of changed my mind. And after that, we had the game against Motherwell and Hibs and so on. And again, I was going back and forth. But I think if you just look at the fact that he's worked through that spell, hopefully, and then we're starting to get onto a bit of a run. I'm absolutely happy to give him another shot and see how we go. I mean, Hugh is right. I suppose we have been a bit up and down in terms of who we want in and who we don't. But you've got to give him credit for the European campaign. I know the domestic hasn't been great, and you can play right off the league because Celtic are so far ahead. So only really you've got Europe to concentrate on. And when it's come up, every game that he's come up against in Europe, like I said, apart from the Lyon game, I think he's done brilliant. I think he's absolutely brilliant. So I think you've got to give him credit for that. You've got to give him credit. So for me, he's absolutely earned credit in the bank for his European results, and that will hopefully last him to the end of the season, and then see what he does in the transfer window, and then we can put up going from there.
Thank you very much, Nadeem. Let's bring in David in Cumbernauld on the other line. How are you, David?
How you doing? All right, lads?
Good. What have you got for us?
As I was saying to the producer there, I believe that Rangers are willing to accept offers for Dessers, which I think is all wrong. I think since Igerman has come into this team, it's took the pressure off the big man. He's done it against Man United. Great finish. It's just your opinions, lads. I reckon Rangers should keep the big man. I think he adds some quality to that team. I've always been a Dessers lover. I'm a season ticket holder.
Always. Yeah.
Believe me. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Rangers are in a delicate situation with regard to finance. If they want Václav Černý from Wolfsburg, for example, on a permanent deal, it will cost them £6.5 million. That's what the team in the Bundesliga have told Rangers, £6.5 million. There are players going out like Matondo to free up space where the wages are concerned, so that Rangers can get somebody in by 11 o'clock on Monday night. So the delicate situation is that if somebody came in and offered big money for Dessers, Rangers would have to think about it. But as I said earlier on, I think he's an integral part of what Rangers want to do between now and the end of the season, domestically and in Europe. And I think you would definitely rather not sell him. But Rangers are in a delicate situation. Players will have to go out. It just depends whether they want to be brave and take money for Dessers.
What about the other side of it, Gordon? You've made your feelings quite clear, but just to explore the other side of it a bit further, he is 30. If there is a chance to get a couple of million, a few million in, reinvest that, go again, try and find another Riga man who's 10 years younger. If this league season is over, as some people are saying that it is, most people are saying that it is there no case there that Rangers still might think about it?
I take on board your argument there in that sense, of his age and everything, of getting money in. Dessers is getting better, right? He's scoring goals. He's scoring goals in Europe as well. Now Rangers are through to the last 16. Who's to say that he can't go on another run? He can't finish the season banging in goals left, right and centre. So in the summer, as much as he's still 30 or 31, whatever he may be, Rangers will still recruit money for him. I think that because of where Rangers are just now, it's important that they finish the season on a high in Europe. Scottish Cup is a big tournament for them as well. They've got to be...
Can Cyril Dessers be this type of striker that ultimately fires Rangers to winning a league title?
Over a season, put right people round about him, above their top goal scorer all day long.
Yeah.
He's a goal scorer. I know that at the beginning of the season and when he came in and everything, everybody kept harping on about the amount of chances he scores, right? The one thing I love about a striker is, see if you're the amount of chances he misses. See if you are missing those chances, it's telling me you're getting in the right positions, right? So all of a sudden you just need that little bit of more composure, and I think he's trying to show that now. He's a team player as well. I think he got a rough ride with the Rangers supporters, and sometimes we do it as pundits. We get right onto somebody quickly. We don't give them an opportunity. Dessers scored a lot of goals last year for Rangers. Look at his return now, and it's only January. He's getting better every time you see him. Rangers fans are now on this phone in saying, well, he must start up front with a man, because that's where the partnership is. And I totally agree. I think Dessers, I wouldn't let him out the building unless I get a real silly offer for him.
Do you know what I mean, Mark? I've seen that theory though, that he's definitely doing better now than he was, and he's been harshly treated, and all of that stuff can be true whilst still not being quite the type Rangers need to take that next step.
Yeah, of course you can always do better than that, but agreeing in principle with Daz there, if you get someone else, and that someone else just now has been Egeman, who's come in and taken a bit of the pressure off his shoulders. Remember, the early part of the season, it was Dessers and Dessers alone that had to play every game for them. He was carrying the can and taking all the heat for it. So I think if you balance it, in any good squad, you need balance. And you look at the other side of the city, Hugh left 12 goals or something he'd scored this season. I said I still think if he stayed at Celtic he would get 20 plus. I think if you're at Rangers and Celtic as a striker, if you are hitting 20 plus goals a season, you're doing your end of the bargain. And I think Dessers will get there this season, and that is enough, I think, for a Rangers number 9.
David, see, slightly aside from that topic, do you think Rangers can do more business now, given that there's a few extra million brought in after Thursday?
Well, allegedly they've frozen up £50,000 in the wage bill per week, with Kieran Dowell going and Matondo, which is a lot of money if you add it up over the next 6 months.
I said this last night, Hugh. I don't know if that means, I think people have added what they think Kieran Dowell's wage to be to what they think Rabbi Matondo's wage to be. What we won't know is how much are Rangers still picking up, because they will probably be. I mean, as an example, I believe they still cover a decent whack of Ben Davies, who's known at Birmingham. So I think these things happen.
Yeah, it's all part of the delicacy of their situation. But when the chief executive Patrick Stewart said one player in, maybe two, I think that what Rangers have done in Europe, I think that has possibly changed the complexion of the situation. And I think Rangers might be looking to sign. They've got Fernandes in, he's the one. But I think there'll be perhaps two signings by 11 o'clock Monday night.
What area would you hope for, David?
Well, definitely not going to be. Allegedly, there was a story about Ryan Kent coming back, but allegedly he's signed for an Iranian team. Sorry.
Yeah, did you see that some sort of tweet? Right, this is why social media is very hard to know like what's sort of real and what's not. There's some sort of tweet saying that he's going to be signing for an Iranian team, and the reason is because you're allowed to keep like crocodiles as pets or something. Snakes
does he keep reptiles, man?
That's why he's going to go there.
How strange would that be? Right, Celtic bring back Jota, left-sided player, and Rangers bring back Kent, the same position. I don't think that'll happen.
It's not as weird as going to Iran with a crocodile.
Listen, he's into that sort of thing.
I'll find the tweet for you and we'll take a look at it. Thank you very much to David and Cumbernauld. Scott Brown's heir, as I think you're obliged to call them in the media, are top of the Championship. Could we see them back in the top flight? It's a long way to go, but he's happy to be there, as you can imagine.
Yeah, it was one of those ones that, if I'm honest, it's probably one of the worst games of football I've watched in the first 45 minutes. It doesn't help you're playing on a car park. Pitch is so bad that I think there has to be some sort of understanding of the quality of the pitch that you can actually put down. You can't let everybody play on it continuously and not renew it after 10 years. Ball doesn't roll well. You look at Airdrie's pitch, brilliant. Teams go there and play and it's actually good, attractive. It's not attractive. It actually brought our standard and quality down, and it's not great for the Scottish game, if I'm honest. But there was absolutely zero in the first half. We scored a penalty, could have been different, but we missed some, we scored some. But second half we were a little bit better, and then the subs came on and it felt like we were nice and fresh and they looked live. And it's great to get Marco back on the park as well. I was impressed with the last 15-20 minutes, and then even when we went 1-0 I never felt like we were really going to lose the goal. And throughout the whole game I felt it was a 0-0, if I'm honest, until we got the goal. But from that, the last 10-15 minutes we were full control, and they kind of slow played the game at times and stuff like that in the first half, and we get the goal, and then we've managed to slow play and just keep the ball and control the game. That's what you want. And even though the pitch isn't great, we could have played a lot better than what we did.
I at least like the fact that that's quite specific, Hugh, because some people go, artificial pitches, bin them all, they're all rotten. Scott Brown saying, I quite like Airdrie's. I didn't like that, so that's fair.
Headline writer's dream. You'd be better off playing in the car park. Point number one. Point number two, it's bad for Scottish football. So poor old John Rankin has had some day of it. The crowd have given him what for. Bruni's now given his pitch what for, and said that Hamilton as a club are wrong to let everybody play on that pitch. It's a disgrace. So Bruni's is quite the day.
Let's hear from Neil Critchley. Since he came into the job, only Celtic and Rangers have picked up more points. They won 6-0 at Dundee today. They are now looking upwards, certainly. They're only 1 point off the top six, but Neil Critchley is pleased with what he's been witnessing.
I honestly, I don't look at the table. I really don't. People tell me the scorelines, and I just concentrate on trying to win games of football, and the league will take care of itself. At some point near the end of the season or closer to the split, I'll probably look at it and need to know what we need to do because of the mathematical permutations. But it's just like, how do we get better? How do we improve? We get a bit more time on the training ground during the week, and I think that's benefited us. That's it. We just keep going game to game.
We've got another game kicking off in just a few minutes. Your day's football is not over yet. Kilmarnock and Dundee United about to do battle in Ayrshire, and we'll take more of your calls tomorrow as well, please. 01419511025. We'll speak to you next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Into the final part of tonight's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel and Hugh Keevins are still here. Still time for you to get your calls in, so please do if you fancy it. We've got a game kicking off right about now as well. Kilmarnock against Dundee United. Kieran O'Hara continues in goal for Killie in the absence of the facially injured Robbie McCrory. The back three looks like Lewis Mayo, Joe Wright and Corey Ndaba. Danny Armstrong and Fraser Murray providing some width for David Watson, Brad Lyons and Kyle McGuinness in midfield, with Marley Watkins and Bobby Wales in attack. As for Dundee United, always interesting to look at a team like Dundee United because they've done well. They're sitting high up the table, but they've made January signings and they've gone into the team as well. Rory Payton stays in, and there's a debut right from the start for former Motherwell man Alan Campbell. So Jack Walton in goal, a back three there of Holt, Gallagher and Adebayoga. Strain and Ferry, the wing backs, Alan Campbell, Savelge, Lucas Stevenson, all supporting Rory Payton, and goal machine Sam Dalby. What are your thoughts ahead of this one?
Looks a strong Dundee United side, especially with the addition of Campbell in the middle of the pitch. I think Strain and Ferry in the wing back roles, good balance, and they've got goal scorers. I fancy United to win this. I'm going to go 2-1.
Wow.
I think it's a big night for Kilmarnock, especially with St Johnstone winning as well. Dundee United, I said earlier in the show, Gordon, I'm very impressed with their signings. Alan Campbell just adds to that tonight. He's right into the team. I think this will be a close one. I'm going for a I was going to say an early goal from Dundee United, but I fancy I've got a sneaky Albert draw.
Dundee United make real use of the long throw. There's such a danger from it, and it was just flicked on.
Maybe he should score.
It was Alan Campbell
in the box.
well,
I think it was Alan Campbell. The camera went straight to Kevin Holt, but it's Alan Campbell.
Yeah, what a debut that would have been.
He sticks out a left boot and it almost flies into the corner.
Imagine that. That would be the quickest debut goal of
it
all
would be,
time,
Hugh.
I think.
That would have been up there, wouldn't it?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Gary Mackay-Stevens scored very, very quickly in his Celtic debut.
Did. I think you might be right.
But anyway, the story for me is Dundee, Kilmarnock, Ross County, St Johnstone. 4 teams separated by 6 points. Oh no, I beg your pardon. St Johnstone, Kilmarnock, Ross County and Dundee. Separated by 6 points. This is a big one for Kilmarnock. They need to get away from that company and look in an upward direction. But Mark fancies Dundee United, and they've certainly started very well. It's getting a little interesting down at that bottom there.
What a shout that is from the old experienced campaigner. Gary Mackay-Stevens, Celtic debut.
Partick Thistle.
37 seconds.
Hey, come on.
That's your shout of the
by
day
the way,
by a mile.
well, he had another one with the Aberdeen strip, but that is good. 2 great pieces of knowledge.
I'd
here.
expect him to know that about the Aberdeen strip. He probably was there when it was out.
Yeah.
But that's
no, I agree with you. I think that's top class.
Anyway,
you finish on a high.
Killie 0 Dundee.
Don't come back tomorrow.
Killie 0 Dundee United 0 in the early stages there. Who else could we hear from? I'm hoping we're going to hear from Tony Docherty before the end, because losing 6-0 at home is quite remarkable.
There's no way of sugarcoating that. That for the home manager is an utter embarrassment.
Let's go Simo Valakari. They've now won back-to-back league games following on from a victory in the Cup, and things are looking up for St Johnstone.
I think we played maybe best away match so far. We look solid and as comfortable as you can look against this opponent, whole 90 minutes. First half we knew that they want to come and press us. So our choices, we had 2 choices. We go with this basketball game with them, that we try to go vertically quickly, behind them. Or we are brave, we take the ball and take their momentum out. And I think how our players, how they did it in the first half, under pressure, they kept passing to side, get through their pressure. And of course, it's not always perfect. We lost a couple of balls, but that takes the momentum out of the opponent. And always against any team, you need to defend some moments, and we defended very, very solid. Then second half, nothing changed. We knew that the game will open a little bit more. So stay solid, stay in a match, compete, you will get your chance. And now it came through the set pieces again. And overall, as you said it, very good performance, very proud of our players, and again tight margins, but in the end I think these games, when you do enough these winning actions, it turns on you, and in the end I think we deserve it.
Have any of you changed your mind about St Johnstone finishing bottom?
No.
Only 4 points behind.
I must say now,
have you changed your mind?
No, but there's an element of doubt now. I thought they were without doubt doomed, and I wasn't sure about Simo Valakari at the outset. At one point I think I called him Simo Harikari. And now there is an element, a seed of doubt in my mind.
They go to Killie next.
Yeah.
Having said that, we don't know what Kilmarnock are about to do now, because they're 5 minutes into their game against Dundee United, so that picture could look different. They might well win convincingly tonight, but as it stands, it's looking much better for St Johnstone.
Well, it's just we get back to that losing habit, winning habit. They're now on a winning habit. They're full of confidence. He's been backed by the board and the chairman. There's a good feeling about St Johnstone just now, but can they keep it going? It's a long season, still to go yet, Gordon. Lots of games there. Do you know something? We'll change our mind week to week in here. It's that sort of league. You don't know who's going to. You look at Hibs and Hearts not that long ago, down the bottom of the league, all of a sudden up there, top six Hibs. Hearts are now really motoring. Dundee are taking a drop. St Mirren are taking a drop. That's just the nature of our league just now.
It's nearly 2.5 years, Hugh, since they've won 3 games in a row.
It's not often St Johnstone become interesting and become a story, but now the absence of doubt about them going down has been replaced by the existence of doubt about whether they're going down. They've made things very interesting by being a pest. Simo Valakari has come in, got a team going, and that's a worry for Kilmarnock. It's a worry for Ross County, and you can throw Dundee into the mix as well, because if you're capable of losing 6-0 at home, and I don't care how good Hearts' progression is, 6-0 at home, then they're in this fight as well.
And that's what we want in this league, as neutrals looking at it and wanting some jeopardy at the end of the league.
Yeah.
We didn't want to see St Johnstone just get cut adrift, and that's done and dusted. So exciting times ahead.
14 games without a win in the league. Only 4 points in that time for Aberdeen, which would be bad under any circumstances, but it's incredible following their brilliant start. Here is what Jimmy Tillene had to say following that 2-0 defeat at Hibs.
What we talk about now is like responsibility. For me in football, it's not about how you play or the system or the way you want to play. It's more about the basic. As an individual, to create a strong collective, you have to take some responsibility when you have how you run for each other, the 50-50 duels, and some games right now the opponents win everything, and that's not good enough for being in a team at that level. So we have to look ourselves in the mirror, myself, my staff, the players. What is actually responsibility to give this 100% out of the pitch? We have 1,800 people travel here today to watch our team play, and the way we lose the game is not good enough.
He's had a charisma bypass, and Aberdeen need strong leadership at this time.
Tony Docherty beaten 6-0 at home to Hearts.
I think the word I would use is anomaly. I've never seen that coming, and for all the criticism that will come, it's justified. And for all the credit we got for previous performances, I think it's justified as well. But that was just a really bad day. It's not very often that I can level that. Everybody, I don't put all the responsibility on the players. I think as manager I need to take responsibility. As a coaching staff we need to take responsibility. But that level of performance was unacceptable today, and I think goals drained confidence, and I think the level of goals that we lost early in the game had the bearing on the game and affected confidence of the team. But listen, if it's important that the players were in tomorrow morning to analyse that performance and make sure that I thought a lot of the performance was self-inflicted. I thought Hearts caught us on a really bad day. Admittedly they had a good day and give them credit, good performance and result for Hearts, but I think a lot of that was self-inflicted, and I think it's really important as a group of players and a staff that we're all in to address that tomorrow and to make sure that we analyse that honestly, conscientiously, and try and move on from it.
I don't know what you're all wincing at because they are in tomorrow morning. You three are in here tomorrow as well.
But we're not getting shown a video nasty like the Dundee players will.
I could play back some of your worst bits over the weekend's shows. Hugh, how would you sum up where we are today then, heading into tomorrow?
Tony Dock said anomaly is the word he would use. That's not the word the Dundee fans will use after losing 6-0 at home. Jimmy Tillene at Aberdeen is in real trouble. 14 games, no wins, 4 points from a possible 42. That's trouble with a capital T. And St Mirren, 1 win in their last 6. They'd better look out as well. St Johnstone, they're the coming thing. This season gets better and better, and tomorrow Jota comes back into the mix.
Will Jota make his second debut? Will Celtic beat Motherwell, who are still looking for their manager? Will Rangers do what everyone expects them really to do and win that home game against Ross County? All your questions and more will be answered tomorrow. Andrew McLean will be in the hot seat. These three will be refreshed. They're getting early nights this Saturday evening, a bit of GBX to see them through the evening, and they will be back tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. The full electric range is now available on Motability.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes ACCA gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your ACCA. It's a gaffer of an ACCA from Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 at boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
I've got a new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. And my umbrella. You see, Now Brief with Galaxy AI learns my schedule to keep me one step ahead of my day. Activity stats, my diary, transport updates, and the weather. Thanks, Now Brief. Pre-order the epic new Galaxy S25 Ultra at Samsung.com by the 6th of February and get 512 gigabytes for the price of 256 gigabytes. Operates as a price discount. T's and C's apply. Samsung account login and network connection required.